just gonna leave one player left alive. It's Sub Rosa. He's playing low. Can Sub Rosa clutch it? And he does. What a play there from Sub Rosa. The Brimstone holds it down right on the low ground. Wow.
With you, TSM.
Quite rightly, right? I think we did see them in the charity tournament earlier this week, but Twitch chat rightly pointed out before, they are very smart, very knowledgeable in this kind of thing. They effectively memed their way through the whole tournament. They had Mythin as like a sort of special guest, I suppose it would be. They played like triple duelists at some point, trying out a lot of the different guns that you don't typically see. So I don't think anybody really needs to worry that TSM are dipping out of form, really. So these are firm favourites for this game, the semi-final afterwards, and of course the grand final in any case. So I don't think we really need to harp onto how good TSM are. I think everybody, even me as a European, knows across the world that this is the best team in this region. But them going up against Cloud9, who look better. They have been really inconsistent recently. TenZ has been god tier and always shows up clutch. But the rest of the team does their best, but can't really keep up to that level. And when you have TenZ getting like over 30 frags and still losing a game, there's clearly problems there with the roster, right? But they did look a lot better. They have changed up their roster a little bit. The only game that they lost yesterday was against GENG, but honestly, that was fairly close. They went into halftime 6-all right on bind. So now that this is a best of 3, it's all about how they do across different maps, not just the one that they get randomly assigns them in the group stages like we saw yesterday, right? So this is their opportunity to blossom. And if they can beat TSM, people can drop this whole Cloud9 are really inconsistent, they suck, it's TenZ and friends, and the friends aren't very good. I think Cloud9 could give them a really good game here, but you would expect the TSM are going to be the firm favorites. Because clearly, did you watch them yesterday? They were crazy.
I mean, if you're trying to ask if you've seen TSM period and any other tournament, they're always crazy, right? They're unstoppable. This is why this is going to be such a tough matchup for Cloud9, despite having an all-star player like TenZ in the lineup. And like I said, these 5 players that have been around for quite a while in the past tournaments, they still haven't had that much of a showing yet, right? Daniel Kim, also known as Vice, coming in from the CSGO scene, has played with Shinobi in the past under Rogue when they played with Hiko. So they have that chemistry, they have that experience. All of these guys coming in from CSGO as well. And their mechanical skills has really transferred into this game. But when it comes down to the synergy to actually do the executions, it's not necessarily there yet. You see a lot of clutch situation that has to come in from TenZ. We've seen situations yesterday too where Mitch had to clutch or get some sprays down with some 3Ks, some 4Ks to actually turn around for the team. So a lot of individual plays, but nothing yet that I see in terms of real synergy for Cloud9. And when you're looking at the maps that's going to happen today here, Reflections, it's going to be still a tough one for Cloud9.
Oh, it 100% is. We're talking about Ascent, Bind, and Haven if we get to that tiebreaker, if it's not a 2-0. Chad, I'm super curious what you guys think, actually, as to who is going to win this and what do you think the series score is going to be.
For this team of TSM, I think they're definitely prepared for this matchup.
And that key thing is there when it comes to TSM playing on Ascent, or not there, really. There's no Sage. So this is a strategy that they've been running. I feel qualified to talk about it, I suppose, because EU does this on all of the maps in some cases, like to run without the Sage. In TSM's case, though, it boils down to operator play, because operators are super strong in this map. Double operators, especially, is very much what you deem meta in some cases. So having a double control as a Brimstone and Omen means that you have smokes to take control of mid. You can bully the defending team quite frequently, and from there, it's just super difficult from that to take the engagement, I suppose. So this is going to be a real baptism of fire, I think, for this Cloud9 team. Looking better and less inconsistent than we've seen previously, but this is a hell of a task for them to try and beat this one out.
Definitely. So TenZ and company right now of Team Cloud9 will be on the defender side, the side that they choose first, because this is going to be TSM's map pick. Now on the attack, close range, first fight will be TenZ, getting the first pick here onto Sabrosa with the Ghost. That opens up this mid side and also the catwalk, which is why you see the Spike also falling back here at the same time to try to support towards mid to regain control of this area.
The door's closing, so Cloud9 are a little bit hesitant, I suppose, when it comes to this A Executor. It's going to be a bit of a peak, though, but Relic's losing the battle in mid is kind of big. It even forces the Sage Wall out very early, which in a pistol round is super expensive. It's like buying a new iPhone with how much money it can sort of take up. So this is a lot of pressure immediately put onto Cloud9, but I think this is where TenZ relishes. And he starts off with a nice headshot onto Cutler, gets a third kill. Does he really need to add much more? Not really. Shinobi is there to help. And a great start for Cloud9 winning this pistol round. I'm not quite sure whether it's attacking or defending favored, but I think no matter what, it's basically what side TSM are playing on. That's what side it favors, it feels like.
And at least, we talk about play style for the teams, right? It's not really about sides, it's about compositions. It's how you feel playing as a comp on a certain map too, and how it adapts to more maps you play versus teams. So far, when you're looking at it from Cloud9's point of view, they probably believe that it's more defender-sided, which is why they started here on the defender side, of course. Door closing early. I like the fact that they could focus early onto the main entrance. So even they had a paranoia coming in from TSM, it was nice cyber cages to come up and just make sure that the crossfire was just focused on that front A side. So now Mitch gets the first kill onto Drone. This is towards that B side. Even TenZ with the Marshall towards mid is also going to drop Haze. Nice shark dart there from Shinobi through the window outside the entrance. Sabrosa, he gets electrified and now picked off. 5-on-2 to continue the round in this first half, and everybody's getting picked off.
I mean, Cloud9 played their advantage. They knew they had guns, so they could play a bit more aggressively. Maybe TSM aren't going to expect it. Effectively, if you win the gun round, the one thing you don't want to happen is to fall victim to some well-placed execute. So just nipping it in the bud, just peeking down B main to get a frag and then backing out. It does enough damage. When TSM don't have the numbers there, it's very difficult, but you would expect that this is where TSM is going to ramp up. They had a slow start in the Charlotte Phoenix game to the point that some people thought that they were just, you know, not really trying, but then they just came out of the gates from that point, looked super strong. So whilst this is the ideal start for Cloud9, there is a bit of a while to go when it comes to sort of winning out not only this map, but the one afterwards, as this is a best of 3.
Yeah, and this has become so one-sided and cliche now as a strategy on the defender side. Having a Silva inside B, lobbing also the arrow, the recon arrow towards the B entrance, has the Odin out because it's pretty much that weapon and the operator that could wallbang through that thick wall of brick wall, to get some picks towards his B main. So he didn't get anybody there to start, so Shinobi's going to fall back and look for the owl drone. He's going to spot one here, maybe try to respray across in his spawn as well. But you could see how the round is so slow.
Paranoia combination with Mitch could have been super clutch there to get the kill onto Sabrosa. The Paranoia hits, but Mitch just can't peek around the corner too much, and him not dying there is much more important. But TenZ now under a lot of pressure, does get hit by the Paranoia, but is holding close with the Shorty. Having a Marshall for fighting long distance too, like you sort of tend to see in this position, fighting mid, but TenZ has the knowledge that they are around mid, they're not pushing Cubby, so that must mean that they are pushing towards B potentially, at least more likely. Hazed is doing that, taking up all this space, but you could see that the sober Shinobi is watching it like a hawk and knows that that could be a place that they're punished.
And that's what I really like about Cloud9 too. They're not afraid of closing the door early and just turtle into the site. Give the middle, let's fight after. But it's still going to be Drone that gets the opener inside that site. Mitch in the back of the B gets that kill onto Drone, so there's still a defender back there. He gets the backstab onto Wardell. I guess it was missing communication. At least we'll get the spike down. 2 guys alive from both teams as the retake comes in from Vice and from TenZ. TenZ only at 10 HP, trying to spray through the paper wall of the sheds, but they're all hiding, both of them, very passively in the back of the site. Camera is also up by Cutler. It's going to be double spy cams. They're going to see each other here. Even a Molly to come out to just focus on one side of the defense here. TenZ now gets wall banged by Cutler. Vice is moving down. It's traded off. He does only have a Spectre. Now this 1 versus 1. I love this. Look at that. A trap wire to just focus here towards that right side. Gets the headshot and comes in with the clutch. He should have enough time for the defuse. And this will be now 3-0 in favor of Cloud9.
Nice retake there. Tricky when your team solo mid. You push onto the site, you get the plant down. Where do you go? It really forced them to sort of back up into the boat room. And from there, Cloud9 could just slowly but surely take the space away from them. It was a bit of an odd play where there was 2 players left on TSM. I think it would have been Sabrosa that just sort of ran into no man's land, which made it a super easy first kill for Vice at least. And then in that 1v1, he places down the tripwire. It actually catches off Wardell completely, and it was an easy defuse from there. So this is a great start from Cloud9. They're looking really decent here, and They just want to see if that continues, because that's been Cloud9's problem. We know that the talent's there, but it's not showing up consistently. Mitch being one of those players I think gets a lot of the flack, and he starts off great with a double kill, and TSM not really going to have much when it comes to guns. Going to have to give up this round 2, you bet.
Man, you're going to see this position. It looks very difficult right now for TSM. Look at how everything is working for Cloud9. So they have the Odin towards that B main. You have TenZ here on this catwalk with the Judge, which is probably the best gun you could have towards this catwalk. Hold close range as a Jet. You could dash forward, tailwind against your opponents face-to-face. Look at the amount of damage he does there onto Cutler as Relic steals a kill. But it's going to be hard for them to penetrate towards this B sign and towards the catwalk. They have the operators, the agents right now for TSM to take this mid control with the Brimstone and the Omen. But after that, they can't really cross down towards those sides. They can't do those splits. So having these executions towards this mid side, I think, should be the best bet for them so far.
It feels very much more like how a Counter-Strike map would be played. It feels with this map. A lot of people have compared it to Cash, for example. You know, Volcano being one of the designers on that map and one of the lead map designers in this game. So it's fair to see where that inspiration came from. But it's all mid-control, sniper rifles being really strong here. Maybe not as much on the other maps, but certainly double operate is a strong strategy that I think... I don't know about you guys in Twitch chat, but I think a lot of people want to see the sniper rifle nerfed. But these guys haven't to play it at the top of tiers. It needs a scope noise. That's all I think it really needs. Just every time somebody scopes into it, like Counter-Strike, it makes a noise so you know roughly where they're going to be. Relics, though, he doesn't know where people are going to be, so he's hiding within his own smoke, has the paranoia, and there's a nice line of fire to throw it down, but Wardell, with said operator, gets the first kill onto Mitch towards B.
Finally, this is what they needed to open things up here. And I remember listening to Taylor, the coach of TSM, the head coach, saying, why do they have this composition going stageless as well? Well, let's talk about it a little bit later, because I think the action's going to start soon. They're closing this door. Yeah. You saw that Cloud burst come up as well. So Jet here, as the TenZ, was trying to look through to see if he could spot some legs while this execution is happening. But you have a paranoia that's coming through. Jet has actually come out with the blade storm. That's the first right click that's trade off by Sabrosa. The Odin is coming through and spraying through the smoke, but it's going to be Vice that runs out. Shinobi still gets the frag. Relics with the wall bang. Now coming from A main. It's going to be a 1 versus 1. Still so much time left on the clock. And Relics wins the fight. A headshot onto Cutler. And we have now 5 unanswered rounds from Cloud9 versus TSM.
What a great start for this. Certainly if you're a neutral fan and want to see a hell of a game, this is a great start to it. TSM not warming up just yet, but they do have a few ultimates available. In fact, they're all coming online for near enough everybody. Interested to see how they use it, whether the money's going to be good enough for them to buy up again. But the way that Cloud9 are holding on this defense, controlling key areas of the map like Cubby, was really decent. It was a nice play from TenZ with the ultimate to bring it up, but I really liked the hiding in the smoke peak when it came out. I don't think TenZ was really expecting it, but yet again, the damage is already done. TenZ starts off just straight out of the gates, gets the frag onto Drone, and there's no resurrect on this side of TSM either, so they just have to 4 versus 5 it. Yeah,
they have 4 ults, but so many of them are low HP already. Look at the Brimstone. Sabrosa down to about 40%. And you also have Wardell down about 10-15%, so they don't really have what it takes to try to get the execution unless they want to use the ultimates to their favor. Usually a run it back would be nice, but losing drones so early in the round is a huge detriment. Definitely there, that did not work out in their favor. Hayes loses the fight versus Relics, and just to talk a little bit about that previous round, I'm surprised Cutler didn't win that one. He's usually known as a Clutchler in CSGO, but he definitely didn't win that 1 versus 1. Now with this garbage time, everybody dies with pistols here for TSM as they are on this eco. Sabrosa only with the Sheriff, looking to get some one-shot headshots with the Odin going head-to-head.
I can see the Odin through the silhouette just in its own... Look at that. That's a big gun. Look at it. Look how long it is. Sabrosa, though, these Sheriffs have done quite a lot of damage. Might ruin the economy a little bit for Cloud9, but considering they won the last 5 rounds, I think money's not going to be too much of a problem there. Sabrosa trying to line up the headshot of the TenZ, but tries to take a little bit too long. TenZ gets a headshot from distance, and you would expect TenZ to always have a decent game, even the games that they lose. But 11-2, I think when it comes to individual talent in this region, I think I know who the best player in the world might be. Just a hint.
Yeah, no, they definitely got some skills here in North America, and so watch out, Ryan and everybody else in Europe. G2, North America is coming for you. Anyways, 6-0 so far here in this matchup, and things are looking very grim for TSM. Thankfully, though, they have 5 alive, it's a gun round, and they also all have ultimates. So this is actually going to give them a chance to at least put 1 onto the board. And it starts off, though, look at this. They actually have somebody hidden in wine, but they tagged it out. So they know exactly that the Omen is actually hidden in there, and that should be Relics playing that spot. The Paranoia is going to come out. The double peaks, oh, actually, it's going to be a dark cover, so that's even better. That's going to give a chance here for him to try to fall back, but he's even staying at the same place. Finally, the shrouded step to be able to walk away.
It just forces out a bit of utility. It could have been disaster for Cloud9 at that point, but look at all of this pressure onto the A site. C9 are watching all of these angles like a hawk. The run it back being used up near enough instantly, and it forces Mitch to boost away. Like, manages to try and catch him up, but Relics as well has been doing so well. Just consistent work as like this support controller. Drone now trying to hold on this side, but he's the only one in that corner. Hayes able to do so much, but gets traded. Ends even spraying into smoke, still gets those frags, but now it's Wardell and Drone, the last alive in this 2 versus 3. Now it's only up for the Sova, and he has it all to do.
Well, we do have a Hunter's Fury and a Neural Theft now for the defenders, and even a res. So even if Tens wants to, he could res towards his catwalk side and put one up so they could get a 4 versus 1. Actually, they're dead very close to Wardell, so we're just going to play more passively here for Cloud9. Wardell's now creeping in, 23 seconds left on the clock. He could at least... Okay, he's going to go for a fake plant. Even a Shark Dart, a Recon Arrow to come out as well. Even a Hunter's Fury. He spots the legs of Mitch, but Mitch does get the wall bang. And now it is 7 unanswered rounds in favor of Cloud9 versus TSM. Somebody's got to wake up soon.
They did need to. They don't want to lose the first map. It'd be great to go down to all the 3 maps at least, but this isn't ideal for TSM. They need to sort of wake up a little bit, but everybody on Cloud9 seems to be pulling their weight. Relics is the other fully signed player in this roster alongside Tens.
Yeah.
You don't typically sort of expect those kind of like supporting controller kind of players to be doing as well, but he's holding his own to an extent. Like, he's pretty much gone 1-1, so it might not look it on the scoreboard, but he's winning some clutch moments, and really not everything is down to the scoreboard in its own right? Like, it's not just getting all of the frags, but I mean, if you're Tens, it's that as well when it comes to the clutch power. But nobody's having a bad game. Everybody's doing their role on Cloud9, and it's making it super tricky for TSM, even with all of the ultimates and guns that they've had. They can't push on in.
Now it's just going to be this eco as they're trying to rush through, but Mitch as that Sage, sorry I called him Tens before, but it is Mitch putting that Frost Orb towards that ground that slows them in their tracks, and it's already 3 people set up there on the defense. It's going to be so hard. Even Shinobi mowing them down with that Odin. And do you see that in Europe here, Ryan? Odin play with the spray on Ascent?
No, not yet. I know that's a very Sinatra thing to be doing, and that's the nice part about it, I suppose, is just... Like, for example, you have Fabric in EU with the whole Sageless comps all of the time. TSM are doing it, obviously, here too, where there's no, oh, we know what the meta is, this is how you play the game. It's just these guns, this comp, all of the time, play it this way. There's still a lot to learn. And if there's a use for the Odin to be used like this, sort of anchoring the B-site like Shinobi's been doing, it's been used, it's been exploited, and TSM don't have an answer for it, and they tend to have an answer for a lot of stuff.
And it's looking to back to a default here for TSM, right? You see that Hayes is still trying to lurk forward to try to work towards his catwalk / mid, and a 2-2 kind of split here to start things off on a B opening this time. But Tens this time has the operator as that jet. He's playing it more passively himself as well, as he didn't see anything towards that catwalk. You see him slowly rotate back towards his spawn to see if he needs to support towards mid.
Right now, it seems that the spike's going to get cargo towards mid. Dropped off again, yet again by Sub Rosa. So they're still trying to decide where to go. Cloud9 have bolstered mid. They're playing it very far back. They're playing it very passively. They have the resurrect. So if somebody dies a bit too close to where TSM are placed, they can't get that resurrect. So if somebody dies like in the placement, I suppose, where Relics is now, it's not too much of a problem. They can take this passively. They're wasting a lot of time. Relics is teleported over to B to see if that's where the execute's coming in. They only spot the Phoenix, so they don't have much information when it comes to what site's going to be hit. This is looking decent for TSM, but they're looking really indecisive when it comes to how they want to play this.
Yeah, because of the information, and he saw Drone. Drone got the kill. They said, look, they probably think it's only one person towards B with Drone playing the lurk. Let's actually go back and execute towards B. So Sobrozo's already throwing the smoke. He's also going for the orbital strike here for the team to move forward inside the site. But there's only 12 seconds left on the clock. Shinobi gets killed while he's paranoid, and Mitch is now inside that site. There's no time left on that clock. He kills the spike here. Relics with the last kill onto Sobroza. A 2-man hold. So fully denied here for Cloud9 against TSM. and it's now 9-0. Who would have thought so far here in this matchup, best out of 3, TSM versus Cloud9, that on TSM's map pick, it's 9-0 for Cloud9 right now?
There's only 4 words that I can say about this. Is it 4
Together
words?
or terrific?
No, I was going to say, haha, Odin go brr. That's really it. Like, Shinobi has just found so much use with this gun. Sinatra's probably watching this game. He's playing a lot later on thinking, what have I created? What have I done? Like, it's such a strong strategy, right? Because that door is so wall bangable that if anybody tries to push onto the B site, they're just going to get sprayed down. They're going to take some form of damage. Which works, I suppose, with how Cloud9 are playing this defense, because he are stacking more towards the A site. Tens almost gets caught out, dashing into the door frame. Nice bonk on the noggin for him. But this is comfortable. This B site isn't really being exploited. A drone's been lurking over there for the last few rounds now, but he just can't get anything done.
Yeah, they need to, right? They need to set a presence somewhere so that Cloud9 doesn't go for any aggressive pushes or any stacks anywhere either. So they have to keep him honest on the position, so it's totally fine. I think when it comes down to who can you break down, that's the question.
Relics.
Yeah, he's walking through this dark cover. He does get the headshot onto Sabrosa, and his teammates are too far behind. I mean, Hayes was there, but it's dark covered, so he couldn't really run in. Or sorry, it's Wardell that was there, but he has a spike. And now he even loses his spike from a 1-versus-1 battle there to Relics.
I don't know what these guys have eaten for breakfast, but it's just...
Let's not get on that topic again.
Let's not go back onto the wheelies again, please. But it's just like every fight the TSM find themselves in, just like a 1v1 engagement. And they look like days in the head, like, huh? What? There's somebody in the smoke? And then they just die. Relics has just been winning a lot of these engagements. There's another one. It's a headshot. It's through the wall. His placement's good. Hayes wasn't expecting it. This is uncharacteristically awful from Team Solo Mid. And Cloud9, it's like... we mentioned Space Jam yesterday. It's the whole basketball taking the talent scene. It's like they look like 2 separate teams, like the flip sides.
And this is what I love to see, actually. Yeah, I love to see this, actually. This becomes like a good storyline for Cloud9, too. And I saw that Jack was in the chat, too. Maybe, Jack, it's time to sign the other 3 guys. What do you think?
It's tricky because this is the problem, right, for Cloud9, where it's kind of like we need to make sure that we sign our perfect team. Not for right now. These tournaments are important, but it's about a year's time, 2 years' time. We want to keep Tens and the best players surrounding Tens for the next 5 years when there's like a Valorant League or whatever the hell happens next. That's the end game. Right, so they don't have these players signed. They need to make sure that they have the best players that they can possibly get. Meanwhile, TSM are very happy with their lineup, so they're just getting better and better, right? So it's a bit of a problem. And this is the first time Team Solid Mid have come in guns blazing, but yet again, Tens is going to be the response.
Yeah, I thought Vice was going to get more than one because that molly went deep down towards Hell, but he actually didn't get burnt, so he was going to be able to backstab a lot. But to sum it up, we have a 2-versus-2. The spike's still inside that site, and there's only one holding towards that top. And it's going to be Shinobi with that Odin, a Cyber Cage that's going to make some noise. Cutler's going to bang him through the Cyber Cage and get the headshot. 2-versus-1. We're finally going to see the first point, maybe on the scoreboard. A self-heal coming in for Mitch. The spike is now planted. Shark Dart coming through, down to 24. He does have a wall on top of that, too. A recon arrow to come out. He's going to wall towards that front. 1-versus-1 towards that hell side, and Cutler finally wins it here for 3K into this round. Rip the 13-0 dream, and TSM puts 1 on the board.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but Cloud9 needs to be like, okay, let's not throw this one, guys, because I can still see Team Solo Mid coming back here, especially when they switch sides. Maybe Cloud9 just have a really tricky time on attack. We don't know that. Like, I think of all of the maps on Split that I've seen where it's like 12-0 and a half, and then it goes into overtime when they switch sides, right? So I don't think this is, you know, done and dusted for Cloud9 yet. They are playing against one of the better teams in the world, but that was the only real flash that we saw. Look at the scoreboard, though.
Yeah.
10-1, like that straight from Cloud9. Looks good, and it's in the blue color too. Relics, though, making it look like 11-1 for this half.
Yeah, Hayes to fall early here, so that's one less smoker for the agents, but at least Sabrosa ties it up in the situation. No res up there for Mitch either. And Shinobi continues his work with this Odin. Not even watching B-side, goes towards mid, gets the headshot onto Sabrosa too, then anchors back towards his site. So now everybody from TSM will have to regroup towards mid and try to regain that control.
They have to make a decision. A lot of teams falter at this point as we get later on into the round, 40 seconds in or so. But look how much it's opening up on the A site. They can just go to Cubby and it's free, and they're going to have drone using to run it back. And I don't think anybody on C9 hears the movement. So they're just paroling around, maybe now spotting it. It's going to be Tens that has to be sort of first contact there or wait for his team lineup. Vice is going to catch Drone lurking, but Drone yet again is like, huh? What? I didn't expect somebody to be there, and gets caught out completely. Cloud9 are on the prowl.
That's right, and Tens is already close, running through the smoke. He does get the wall bang onto Wardell, leaving only one player remaining. It's going to be Cutler, and he is stopped with not a single kill. And that is going to be the defuse coming in for Tens. The key player right now for Cloud9 at 18, 5 and 3, followed by Mitch at 12 and 6. But overall, the half is 11 to 1.
Everybody's been kicked out of the game. It's just Tens versus Cutler, but I mean, the
Clutchler.
top fraggers from both the sides. Clutchler, not so much. Wardell doesn't miss, but it feels like he's been missing in this game. It just hasn't seen those like bright spark moments that we all know and love, right? It just feels like Cloud9 have stopped it before it happened. The one round that we saw TSM win there was Sub Rosa just running onto the A site, not giving a heck, and just coming in and just headshotting somebody, opens up the game for them. But right now, it looks like it's Cloud9 that are the ones that are playing with more confidence and not looking as tense, I suppose it would be. Tens just has that freedom, running through his own smokes to get frags, catching TSM completely off guard. If they can play like this on attack, then this is going to finish very quickly.
Well, the piston round is now underway here with Relics and company of Cloud9 now taking the attacker side. Can it be now that TSM can make the comeback now that they're on the defender side? But 11 to 1, you're falling behind by a lot here. It's going to be a very steep hill to climb to try to catch up in this matchup. Spike now being picked up, as you can see him walking slowly towards his B side, but we are still having lurks all around towards his mid and a very far back Cypher, actually. So you could see that they're maybe going to look for a split for a mid to B towards the mid round.
Setup is looking very tight on the A site, but it's going to be B. A side that was near enough untouchable, really, when it comes to Cloud9 with the Odin, but there's no Odins available just yet. So it has to be patient play.
Yeah.
Like Mitch, the fact that he looks like he's going to be entry fragging on the Sage is a bit puzzling, but TSM just want to buy some time, you know, have Shinobi make a lot of ruckus on A, like, hey guys, we're going over to A, I'm going to shoot this door, I'm going to throw my arrows out, we're over here guys, look at me, and then they move on to B with the rotate coming in, but look at this, like Cloud9 aren't moving, they know that this spot is looking likely, they throw out a bit of utility to stall it even more, and now all that time that TSM have had available to them is starting to burn down, and they have to just get onto the site now.
Yeah, but like a Shinobi's position, he gets the headshot onto Hayes, so he catches her with inside the site that have to hold it down. It's going to be Drone and Cutler. First one to fall is a Spike. There's only 7 seconds left. Cutler has to stay alive here, but unfortunately Tens pushes in and kills him. Now the Spike will get planted. It's going to be now a 3 versus 1. Sabrosa moving in towards B main. First one spotted. Tens now on the staircase of the shed. Another one towards the market, and that is going to be Relics breaking the door open. But now with Sabrosa at 9 HP, going to be pretty much impossible. Being spammed all the way here because of this ghost all the time. Gets tagged on top of that too. It is going to be, no matter what at this point, map situation, map point for Cloud9 as Sabrosa is moving through, but the dream is pretty much not there. Yes, he gets the kill onto Shinobi, but they're already set up for a trade.
I was thinking it was going to happen, and then never mind, and this might just be a bit of a throwaway map for TSM. I don't think they're going to be two-faced. It's like, oh god, that was bad, but I can imagine their play onto Bind and Haven, which are going to be the next maps upcoming in this best of 3. No split, which is a shame, because I was enjoying casting all the split yesterday, 3 times in a row. Why does it sounds amazing, right?
Yeah,
guys?
we got 2 out of 3.
Oh, like, why just split, man? Like, we don't see it an awful lot, but TSM look good there. I imagine their Bind and Haven is going to be up to par 2. So if you're TSM, you're bound to lose in map, it feels at this point, but I don't think you're going to be too worried. There's a bigger game happening here. But if they could bring it back on Ascent, that would be something else.
For sure. And now it's going to be a nice shot from Hayes, actually, on it to Relics towards his mid side, so he decided to push through his own dark cover. And now we have Jet coming in with the Judge Jetty, getting the headshot onto Sabrosa, trying to clear out the site. Wardell still holding by the sliding door, breaks the camera, so his position's given away, and Mitch wins that fight against him. So now, a 4 versus 3, with the Spike about to go down, and they have nothing to work with. Tens with the headshot, jumping Judge in the face of Hayes. It's pretty much looking to be here a 13-1 as he continues for 4K for Tens to seal the deal. Cloud9 dominates TSM on this first map of Ascent.
I mean, people are going to look back at this and go, it was another 10 show he carried. But honestly, I hear all of the complaints from Cloud9's roster. That is a solid team lineup. 24 frags for 10s, but Mitch, Shinobi, Relics, all pulling their part. Relics only got 11 frags, but every single one of those frags that came in was so impactful, so important. Every clutch, and it was just... I mean, seeing Wardell on 9 frags and 30, it just is my screen working that silly? That just doesn't look right. Like, it just felt that every single 1v1 engagement TSM found themselves in, they had no idea what day it was, and they got killed very easily. Cloud9 looked the best that I've ever seen them. TSM, not so much.
No, definitely. And now we're going to try to figure out what's going to happen here. I mean, when you're looking at the stats of this too, Reflections.
Going to be a good one. TSM needs to answer back if they want to stay alive in this tournament, or else it is curtains for them at Cloud9. We'll move on to semifinals. Boys, take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm actually going to let you take it here, Ryan, because apparently I don't have the game for me on my feed. So I'll let you start it off.
I've got it going, so I can take this one. Like, it's not going to be quite rap god like we get in some of the Counter-Strike, like knife battles and first pistol rounds, but we'll do our best.
I'm good. I'm here.
You're here?
Yeah.
Oh, I was getting into it. I was like playing some like backing music. Royalty. No, like I think the one thing that people don't need to hear is this Yorkshireman, this apparent vampire rapping freestyle. But Subrosa getting the first pick. That's like a quarter of the kills that he got on the scent, so that's a good start for him at least. But look how aggressive this defense is. Drone is just going all the way in, gets the kill onto Shinobi, and this is kind of what I mean. TSM already a lot more comfortable on bind than he ever did on the scent in that last map.
And it starts so well. 3-man push toward Catwalk, rotate back for Broza waiting at the U. 2 kills with the Ghost. We put the wall up, we get the spike at least. No, the Molly's on the ground. Mitch burns. That's a flawless round of 4K for Sabrosa. No spike plant and a pistol round. Flawless for TSM.
And also TSM without the Sage, so this is less than just a one-map strategy. This is the map that, like, I don't necessarily think TSM took influence from it, but on the other side of the Atlantic, this is the map that Fabrican very much liked to run without the Sage. This was the first team that really did it, that people were like, what are they doing? What is this? Like, this Morpheus, like, they're beginning to believe, and it just sort of seemed to work out super nicely. But it is just because of these executes, and what it is all about is really just playing retake, because you have such an aggressive lineup without the Sage. You have the Phoenix, the Raze, the Sova. The controller's there to sort of control the stem of operator spam that you will gradually see as this game goes on. To be fair, we didn't really see it on Ascent, to be honest, which is puzzling, but in EU, it's double initiator, it's the Breach and the Sova, and it's just super aggressive. So right now, you're just going to see Team Solomid play relatively passively, maybe even let the spike go down, and then just retake like that. Cutler can sit back a little bit, let Tens run at him, and he's just going to outfrag him because he has that kind of utility.
Well, at least get the spike down. We have a Shark Dart coming through as well. Should be an easy defuse coming across. Look at Wardell. He doesn't care. 13-1 last bam. I'm going to bunny hop through the molly. I'm going to try to find you, Vice. And Vice now forced to fall back. It's going to be the defuse coming through. I think at this point, because I guess he invested on that 500 credits for that Ghost, pretty much an impossible task for them to win. So he's going to save that into the next round. 2 unanswered rounds now for TSM, going into the third, where we won't really see a big upgrade coming in for the defender side.
And this is pretty much a perfect start, I suppose, for TSM. Almost getting the same amount of rounds, as we saw on Ascent. So, like I said, this is just where you expect them to sort of pipe up a little bit more. Cloud9, attacking first is going to be difficult for them. Their defense was solid, obviously, on Ascent. And when it came to the attacking side, they didn't really need to do that much when it came to getting, like 3 rounds maximum. So, that's something going to be more challenging, I suppose, going on to bind. Attacking. Defending isn't, the stalwart best side to be on. But it's all the plays that Cloud9 need to make. It seems that Team Solomid are prepared. Case in point, Wardell getting the operator shot into Relics.
That's right. And the other ones haven't really seen an upgrade, right? We saw 2 Ghosts, 2 Spectres, going in for TSM as well. And they have a 3-man stack towards his B sign because Wardell could pretty much hold it on his own. One thing that's different here that I kind of like is that usually I always see Cutler playing as the Cypher, but he switched over to a Raze, as you mentioned before here, Ryan. And this is interesting because they don't have trap wires, they don't have information as well. So yes, there's one thing about playing Sageless, but there's also one thing playing Sageless and also no Cypher for extra information.
And I like how aggressive Sabrosa is trying to play towards the bathhouse. Vice is there, though. Molotov's going to break him apart a little bit, but is going to
Oh.
gradually start to push ahead, making it... TenZ is just played super aggro. He's been cut off every single time, but this time it's Mitch. Wardell's positioning is good. That's a third. He can't fight close range when it comes to TenZ being right up in his grill. Vice has opened up things a little bit more in this 2 versus 3. The spike isn't planted, which allows time for this rotation to come in. Vice is still taking these engagements, beats Hayes, even with the delayed paranoia. He's going more aggressive. Now it's a clean 1v1 with TenZ. You've got to say he might be able to take it.
And he won't. Drone gets the headshot there with the Bulldog. He's looking for the operator at the same time, too. It was almost lost, a 5 versus 2. For TSM. Some nice shots coming in from Wardell. He's angry coming in. You can hear him screaming while he's getting those kills through the team chat. But because TenZ was so close, he was in the middle of a reload, he had to go for a no-scope. And unfortunately, look at the draw with the RNG. He didn't hit it. It would have been super nice for a highlight reel, but it did not happen. But at least getting that 1 versus 1, a nice attempt from Vice and from TenZ. It's still going to be a third unanswered round here for TSM.
What I want to see, sort of like 6 months to a year in the future, is like a supercut of all of these times that Wardell just shouts complete obscenities, just like a really fast supercut of all of the stuff that he comes out with, because it's rugged, but it's beautiful. It's art. I'm pretty sure when he speaks, I listen. That's to say the least. But right now, this has been good for TSM. Perfect start, similar to how C9 started on Ascent. Cloud9 not really having the guns. It's going to be Sheriff C. Have been able to get a little bit of damage in, and they're putting Drone under a little bit of pressure in his position, but the double peek with Hayes is going to be good. They have the 2 flashes, even putting that in there, but Cutler gets the first pick of the TenZ, who thought that he was covered up by the smoke. Nice placement, and this just looks easy now for TSM.
Yeah, and why? Because also, as the operator, there's not really much being thrown at him in terms of blocking his vision. But everybody's winning fights. This is looking to, I think it's close to a team ace at this point. Every single person so far got a frag for the team here for TSM, leaving only 1 more. Looking to be hunted down by, and to Shinobi. He's spotted now, but Sabrosa gets the kill. And that was an eco coming in for Cloud9. Nothing really you could really pull out of it for Cloud9, or nothing you could say. For them to lose that round. So hopefully into this one, when they have that money, things might be a little bit different.
Yeah, not really. Too much could be done. Maybe just getting a kill to ruin the economy a little bit, but when you've won 4 rounds in a row, you can pretty much buy any gun that you want at this point. Curious to see if any other members of TSM have picked up operators. It is just going to be Wardell for now, not going to be bolstering up these big sniper guns in multiple places. But to be fair, that's the good thing about watching a good operator player play, is just they change up their positioning, they play aggressively in some places, they move to the B site and then the A site. It's very difficult for C9 to predict, C9 to predict exactly where TSM are going to be holding with this operator, and that's a lot of intel scouted out.
Yeah, oh no, a collateral from Wardell, a third shot onto TenZ. They're moving in from the short A right now. He's clearing in towards his cubby up the short A. By the site, it is going to be the Silva just on the other side, and he connects for a 4th, looking for the ace so we can donate to the United Way of New York City. Vice is the last one to go here, rotating back as the spike is down. It is going to be an impossible feat for him right now.
Who is this guy? Like, this isn't even Valorant. This is just Wardell's mind. He's just dominating that much. Drone opening up the kill for Wardell to get the ace still. That's exactly
Wardell's
why
like, give it to me,
there.
give it to me.
He's shouting at his team. You've never heard anything like this. I don't think he's streaming, but I think I can hear him all the way from Europe. That's the ace. That's how it's done. This guy don't miss. This guy don't miss.
That it was such a nice round there for Wardell. And now you're starting to shake your pants playing Cloud9. Yes, you have that confidence moving in for 13-1 against the top team in North America, potentially the world. And you're coming in with so much confidence into the second one, and now you're just getting thrown around the map like nobody's tomorrow. They're just getting wrecked right now. So the morale, I would think that it's kind of low. They need to step it up now.
Relics and Mitch and Shinobi, who all had, strong games, decent games on Ascent. Like I said, they weren't top fragging, they weren't on 10's level of territory, but they won a lot of these engagements. But this is the problem. It's that inconsistency. This is the difficult thing about Cloud9. Do we get new players when we know that these players can sometimes pop off against the best in the world? Or do we get players that could just fall apart like this? That's the tricky thing that Cloud9 have to deal with at the moment. And it would be a shame to lose out this game in this fashion, because it just means that Cloud9 yet again have to struggle with a decision on how to play these players and what to do with them.
Yeah, and I like how it was flushed out, but let's talk about the action a little bit because they're starting very soon. So Broza has the orbital strike. He's forcing the push towards him at you. He only gets 1 kill, though. It's traded off by Mitch. They are moving forward inside the site for Cloud9. They put the wall up as well, but it's going to be a couple of clouds being thrown. Close range too. I don't know where the wall wasn't there actually for them to plant. Oh yeah, it was there. They got broken down, and then they're just getting picked off. The res is going to come up at least. Mitch looking for that kill, but drone lines both of them up. You know what? I really don't think the wall went across the whole way because from the way that I saw Mitch's position, he boosted himself up behind a double stack, and they really just wanted to plant through the double brim smoke, and as that dissipated, it was out in the open, and the ass of the Sova was actually showing for Cutler.
He was just exposing himself there, like for a wedgie or frag, it doesn't really matter, but like it was just a non-reaction. It was very nonchalant of, oh, the wall died behind me. I'm just going to continue planting. I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to pretend that they're not there, and then they won't be. That's how I get this plant in. But nevertheless, Cloud9, they started off this well on Ascent, being like 6-0 up or whatever it was. Now the tables have turned. Very hot, very cold, and tense. What is that? Like the Blade Storm coming out, he wanted to get so much done, but just ran to his death. Like, I like the idea, but the execution, not so much.
Yeah, and now you can see that they're Chris on their aim too. Drone getting a nice tap in the face of Mitch. Dark Carver forcing now Cloud9 to fall back by the teleporter, but you still have a lurker towards this long A, but here is a big flank from Sabrosa as well. The lurker gets the dink onto Cutler, forced to fall back, but Sabrosa is about to come in for the kill, and it's going to be Vice, I think, still trying to move forward here. There you go. He's down. Last two guys, they know that it's going to be towards this B side because they went all around the map of A.
It just looked comfortable, just being able to exploit and take all that space. Like, I could just run all this distance, get somebody behind and get that frag, and Drone and Hayes doing a similar sort of thing. They were prepared for this kind of push. They had the utility ready. Their positioning was perfect. This is the kind of thing that you expect on Bind. Bind is very much the most popular map in Europe, I think. So when this map comes out to play, you expect these teams to have set executes, set placements, where they're going to place themselves, how they're going to default on potential rounds. All of this is what we're seeing. Granted, it's not at that sort of like microscopic level just yet because the game is just out, but you think about Counter-Strike and you think about all of the defaults and the plays that teams have. This is Team Solomid being way ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, and I was going to say they won so many rounds in a row with barely any people dead. I think even 3 Flawless going through. 10's getting the first kill onto Sabrosa, unfortunately. I was going to say they have so much money to work with. They're going for a double op setup. You have a run it back as well to try to clear the area to see 2 people towards that market side, and they're still trying to fight it. A paranoia to come out. Hayes forced to fall back. Even a neural theft. Position given away. 10's is now bursting inside that site with a tailwind, and the spike is now still towards that shower. So they're trying to take Wardell down, who's waiting for his teammates to rotate, and finally the spike will go down at Tetris.
Wardell's going to slowly creep around. Not much to worry about on this left-hand side of the site. Of course, you can see the X-rays, which I love the fact that they're in the game, by the way. You can see roughly where people are. But this is the retake. This is the strength of this kind of composition. The TSM are running without the Sage. They have all of this intel, throwing out the Silver arrows, throwing out grenades, paranoia, smokes, all of this stuff. Cutler kills his teammate. Doesn't matter too much, though, as the Showstopper's going to come out to get the kill on Device. Knows roughly where the Silver is as the Hunter's Fury just came out. Wardell's being pushed away because they're just going to stall it out. So this is going to be most likely the first round on the board for C9. Really well played to keep TSM at bay here.
You got an orbital strike, a molly, nothing you can do there. Just trying to stay alive. So Wardell looking for some flashy plays, some kills, but he's going to die to the spike. He pretty much for Cloud9, he really didn't want to go for the hunt either because of the amount of rounds that they lost in a row, the amount of investment they put into this round 2. You want to try to keep the money healthy and the buys healthy into the next few rounds here of this first half. It's not over yet though, right? It's only 1st to 13. It's max rounds 12, 7-1. If Cloud9's able to pick this up and gain the momentum after this map win, or this round win rather, it could be 7-4 and it's a whole new ballgame.
Give themselves more of a chance. They looked really good on the defensive ascent. I would assume that would be the case there too when it comes to playing on Bind. When they played GENG in the groups, they looked decent on Bind. They lost like, I think it was 13-10, right? They went in to score half and half, but 10's gets the full body shot onto Wardell right in the head. I won't use the word that I used yesterday because that was terrible, but that wasn't from 10's. 10's over the last couple of rounds has looked so much better, seemed to have got the aggressive pushing out of this system. Now he's playing much more controlled and reserved with the operator, and it's very tricky now for TSM to deal with it. Even now, the classic pistol kill in the air. Drone kills him, but that's some styling.
Definitely, and you're going to start seeing that a lot, I think. I mentioned it yesterday, the jump peaks with the operator seems to be so accurate. The low jumps, the crouch, and then landing the shot, it's quick enough and it's accurate enough. As soon as you crouch and right-click and scope and get the shot, it's usually the kill. So Wardell outclassed, outmaneuvered by TenZ on that round, and this gives a chance now for Cloud9 to get a second round onto the board. There's only 2 alive here for TSM versus 4. We have satchel charges coming down as well. Drone to fall. Last one is going to be Cutler. He at least gets the second kill now to 33 HP, but you see one that is so far behind. That's it. I was going to say, Relics is still so far behind at the spawn side. It's a set molly from the spawn. It's onto the spike. Gonna be impossible. 7-2 now coming in for TSM, but at least 2 rounds in a row for Cloud9.
Feels that they're not just trying to outfrag TSM at this point, that they're just playing more objectively, like literally the objective, putting the spike on the site and holding off the retakes, which has been decent. It is tricky. It's a scary lineup to go against when you get that spike planted and you win a 5 versus 5 because of the intel that they can get, the smokes, the control, the damaging abilities that Raze has available to her. It's scary if you're Cloud9, you put that spike down onto the ground, then you've got to hold off against some of the scariest individual players in the world. Even there, but they played time, and there's only so much that TSM could do. There's only so much that Wardell could do if he has an operator, and everybody's just hiding like 15 feet away from him.
Look at TenZ continue to be super aggressive here with a shorty. So he went with shorties on openings with an operator. So I like this because he could go for operator, somebody falls back, he dashes forward, shorty close range gets the kill, right? I could see that type of play style coming in from TenZ. You've seen the way that he's played so far in the past few matches that you've watched or casted the jet of TenZ and Cloud9. So this could still be a doable composition in terms of guns for that agent.
He's changed up his playstyle a lot more. We didn't really see that much operator at all from C9 in general when it came to Ascent. There wasn't really much need, so TenZ has changed up his playstyle to be very different to how he played it before. You can very much tell because right now he would be in the face of TSM with how he was playing those earlier rounds, but now it's not so much he's matured, but he's just playing the game a little bit differently. And right now, TSM aren't dealing with it all that well, but the damage was already done in the early game. Let's see how TSM can deal with this. Shinobi's going to be pushing through the smokes. Rosa gets a nice spot and gets a bit more intel that there are people pushing onto the site. If he just buys time, let Wardell try and do his thing, but just holding his ground, ready for the retakes.
And the lurk didn't work out there for Relics. At least there's only one person inside the site, so they could still make it a 2 versus 1 early before the rotate comes across, but they're not moving at all here for Cloud9. Both stacking up towards the APC. TenZ about to close in with the operator on it to Sabrosa. He sees the elbow. He's going for that kill with the short range shorty, of course, gets the kill there, but at least he's low on HP. Mitch cannot fall back to get the heal. Drone picks him off on a rotation from the pipe. He's moving in as well with Cutler. TenZ close range, does not land the shot, unfortunately. I don't even think he had a chance to get a shot out. Drone gets the pick, and now TSM, after losing 2 in a row, where it started to look very expensive in the economy, was a much needed round that they needed to win here so that they could maintain with rifles in the next round.
Yeah, before it gets a bit too silly for Cloud9 to pull a few more rounds. A great retake, really, there. When you have an agent like Phoenix in your lineup, you feel comfortable to be able to let that spike get planted in the first place because Drone has all of the abilities and all the utility available, considering he was holding on to the B site. So it could come in, surprise people, and just TenZ's positioning towards the end was just not good enough when you have the operator and you're holding a corner that close. There's nothing that he can really do. Well played from Drone to lead by example. We saw a lot of this on the split maps yesterday where he just takes that space all for himself and has that utility. He's doing it right now. He's pushing towards B ramp and just listening for steps potentially, but it is going to be B main that the site is going to be hit by. Relics, he's going to be there to spot it. But needs to be careful of the Blade Storm and use from TenZ.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. They wanted to go for the Owl Drone. They want to go for the Blade Storm and work behind it. Now they're dashing across. TenZ is looking for an opener inside that site. One is going to get tagged. He misses the right click, unfortunately, but the pistol's coming out. Pace is still looking for him. Finally, he gets the kill, upgrades to a weapon through the cloud burst, trying to get some kills. But it does not work out. It's a 4 versus 4. Everybody teleports towards into an open site. They're going to get the plant. But we're going to have Sabrosa on a flank from short very soon. TenZ, meanwhile, does fall towards B side. And it's still going to look not easy for these guys to hold it. Thankfully, though, the Brimstone is still alive towards spawn. He could still throw a molly. Weiss wins that fight versus Sabrosa, though.
Vice gets a nice frag there onto Subrosa. The rotation was really good from TSM. They weren't buying any of Tenz's tricks where he's like trying to use himself as bait on the B side, but here comes another rotation in. The spike has been planted, so they are playing from distance. There's no like Hunter's Fury, there's no like Molly's I think set up. Actually no, never mind, Relics had it lined up, he was just moving at the same time. He's that kind of player, can do two things at once. Cutler getting the blast pack kill onto Vice, but more time being bought. This is what Cloud9's been really good at, and it seems to be working in their favor, but still Cutler gets the damage and kills everybody. Time is not on their side, the spike gets deployed. And this is their win condition for Cloud9. It's just a shame we're going into halftime after this next round.
Yeah, that's right. So 8-3, a much leaner round. They get it at this point. A nice round coming through. I mean, like I said, it was based off on how chaotic it was for Tens inside that B site and everybody else pretty much of TSM on that rotation. Because as they're trying to hear the classic shots, the Blade Storm right click that miss. Hey, he's like, what the hell is he? Is he in the air or not? Everybody's just looking around. And that gave enough time actually for the rest of Cloud9 to just go through that teleport and get that spike down. Moving into the last round though, the economy's still good for at least the defenders. The attackers, you could see, there's 3 Bulldogs only as they're trying to take over this B side control early again.
A lot of pressure being put in. It's all guns blazing. They have the Resurrect, so they can play a bit more aggro if they want to. Shinobi doesn't check that corner. There was the Phoenix right there. Drone is sat there, and he used the Eldra. They didn't even look. He can't be there, guys. It's not a chance. Subrosa doing what Subrosa's been doing all game, just pushing through and having all of the space advice, looking down the camera at his smartphone, just probably checking some of his favorite social media apps. Just gets shot in the back of the head. There's so much that he could do. And suddenly all of this pressure that was building from C9 on the B side is just evaporated.
Definitely, and now, Tens at least gets that pick onto Cutler. Hayes moving out, though, to trade it out. As you saw the tailwind from Tens once again. He does that a lot. Gets a kill, dashes inside the site, trying to see if he gets something else. Orbital's tried to come down. The spike is down towards Octagon at the same time, too. It's going to be a tough feat for Relics to try to clutch this 3 versus 1. Even a Molly to come down towards that hookah area, so he's pretty much stuck here in this smoke. There's even Shark Darks landing right behind him. He's in a dark cover. He's trying to come down where he doesn't make any noise, but as soon as the smoke dissipates, Wardell gets the pick with the operator, and now TSM take the lead 9-3 into this half.
This is more like it. Get a good look at scores on the doors at halftime when it comes to frags. Wardell's had some really clutch moments, but it's Drone that's had the most impact there. The three-headed dragon of Subrosa, Drone, and Wardell has had a lot more success, I suppose, on this map, certainly. Like all of these individual players playing in very different ways, all working out clutch in important factors when it comes to playing up against Cloud9, who Tens has done okay in places. He's still top frag in his team lineup, but only 8 frags in 12 rounds. You would expect better, certainly with how amazingly he played on Ascent, right? So,
yeah, for sure. I think it's a total different Wardell that we see now into this. Oh, I like this one. I've never seen this spray. That's a really good one. I like Prius for catching these things. I cannot. I go to the gym 5 times a week and I still can't because I still have a fat belly. Nonetheless,
though, if I'm on my back.
Pistol round is now underway here as we do have 3 players inside the A site, even a camera up. So that's why we're playing semi-passively here inside you and towards the back of the site, really using that camera to gain that information. They tag one first, but it's a little too late. Drone's already moved through, but it's traded off by Vice. Then Wardell retaliates. Relics is now still towards you, waiting for his teammates to rotate, and it's happening. You have a flank here from the showers, one from the A heaven, a shock dart from Wardell. That's the second one of this game. Mitch coming through the showers. Ace is now down. Tens under heaven, and Subrosa had no idea where the shots were coming from. And a wall and a cloudburst. This is going to be impossible. 2 versus 2. The clock is ticking down. Satchel charges being thrown. Wardell gets the kill. He's actually off the... No, he didn't get the defuse.
He went off of it.
Did he go off of it?
I
see it 29.28. I don't know what's going on. No, it's 9-4. Yeah, they got the defuse.
They got the defuse. I was going to say, I panicked so hard that I was like, what are you doing? But yeah, he had enough time. It was really well played to keep control of that. Mitch's position in there, pushing aggressively to take the bathhouse, was one of the key reasons why they got that map. I think if you push onto the A site, you need to have bathhouse control more than anything. You can't all just run through there because it's too much of a bottleneck, but having your finger in as many pies as possible is super important. But if those defenders can take that space away from you, A site already has a lot of avenues that the defenders can retake the site from you, so you just need to be really careful there.
That's a nice shot there from Drone, just to try to retaliate from getting that spike defused from that previous round. That's already the first one to fall, and that is the Sova. So less information here on this retake, but Relics is going to play aggressively here on the top of the box. Gets the first kill, continues to spray through the Cyber Cage, and Hayes is going to run across though with the Spectre. So that's now 2 down, and only 2 left alive actually in total for Cloud9. As we're taking a teleporter towards B. This is a play. No! Everybody took the teleporter, but Cutler with the spike. So now it's going to be a crossfire setup. TenZ has a judge, and I think the Mitch is going to be able to upgrade to a weapon at least too. Yes, he picked up a Spectre. How the hell does this happen right now for TSM?
Any spikers in chat? Like, you just got to leave it there? Is it really that unimportant? Drone spots the head of TenZ, but can't really get the frag in. Mitch's positioning's nice. He's done the damage enough, and Drone is still alive. Yeah, without the spike yet again. Can you imagine?
And he didn't even pick up that Spectre right next to him. Okay, that's very gutsy from Drone, actually. But I guess at that point on a 1 versus 1, you don't really want to try to show yourself as well. A fake plant, he peeks up, Mitch gets the headshot. And that is going to be a 4-on-2, won by Cloud9 by one, not even small mistake. It was a disastrous mistake from Cutler.
I need to lay down. Like, that was just such a weird round. Like, you don't see these kind of teams make those kind of mistakes. It was just unfortunate, but teams will both move on from here, and I think this is looking decent for Cloud9, getting these 2 rounds on this defense. Now, of course, these bigger guns are going to be available to the attackers of Cloud9. Both teams going to have the bigger guns at least, but no operators available from either side. Let's see how TSM do on this this defense. And man, I'm still getting over it. I really need to have a lay down after that. that really took me for a walk, that one.
No, definitely. So a 9-5 scoreline now. A great job at least for Cloud9 on that previous round. Again, a 2 versus 4. Very well played there by Mitch with that Spectre, watching that pipe side on the rotation as TSM were coming in from both angles too, winning every single fight coming across. But now to start things off, Shinobi with the Owl drone that made towards this hookah, saw that paranoia. So that could be some information to say, look, there's maybe a couple of guys working towards this B side, but you can see from this mini-map, everybody from TSM is slowly walking back here towards the A, and they're looking for, I think it's going to be a 4-man push up towards short A.
It's looking to be that way. And this is a lot of pressure going in. There is a little bit of room to breathe, I suppose, when it comes to the backhouse too. Gradually, the Razor's going to take it slowly. Mitch is put under a lot of pressure, but manages to survive without really taking a lick of damage. And that's important considering he has the Resurrect available to him. The plan for Relics is good, but it's so difficult right now.
TSM
are looking to try and get the plant in, but Cloud9 are just stopping it from happening.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Relics, yes, he died, but he did his job. He walked through the smoke, got the kill, and then, yes, he died, but they were able to get a few trades to give a chance for them to maybe deny the plant. But unfortunately, they were able to retaliate for TSM's side, and it leaves it on a 4 versus 1. The issue right now is you could kind of see it. If you're trying to go for these execute, Ryan, toward the A side, and you don't have a Sage Wall to block up that line of sight, or even block off the cover from anything shooting forward from the side of the site, it's very, very hard to plant there. I think at this point, if you're going for these 5-man or for these 5-man agents with no stage, you need to have the brimstone smokes and not the dark cover, because there were still some gaps there on that side of how it was placed.
Spike is going to go kaboom. Another big round for the attackers of TSM. First round in a while that they've got, certainly on this side as the attackers. But everything just sort of fell apart a little bit for C9. Granted, though, TenZ did survive. He could give the gun that he was carried to somebody else and maybe pick up the operator. That might still be available to them, even on this side. It might be a case of a half buy. His money isn't looking all that good, so it is, yeah, just holding on to the Phantom and just follow TenZ in onto the site, hopefully. Like, get a frag, pick up their gun, try to snowball as much as possible. Mitch has had a pretty decent game, too, when it comes to frags. Just one behind TenZ, but TenZ, you sort of expect him to have 5-10 more kills at this point. And it might be one of the reasons, but you can only expect so much from one player to do all of the dirty work for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. So now 10-5 going in here for Team TSM. We hear the Boombot heading towards the showers right now as they have one person playing close towards that closet, but the information is not going to be given away for that. At least, though, towards this short A side, Hayes does get the first kill onto Relics towards you. Paint shells to come out. That's actually going to hurt Vice. I was going to say down to almost nothing. Literally down to nothing. Cutler lands that with the paint shells into the site. Now Sabrosa to get the frag onto Shinobi 2. They clear out towards the side. At least Tens is already rotated, but Tens is already down. Last one to go is going to be Mitch. Does get the classic headshot, but it's immediately traded there by Sabrosa. So we're going to see 11-5 in favor of TSM. They're looking, and they really want to bring this to that third and final map.
Well, it was like the plays that I was mentioning on Ascent, just Cloud9 running through smokes, going on very wide peaks, and taking engagements where they don't have the advantage. We just saw Sabrosa do that right at the depth of that round, right? Like, it feels that TSM look a bit more comfortable, a bit more confident, and a bit more zesty, I suppose, when it comes to their play style. And they can give away a few of these rounds to Cloud9. They don't need to worry about that too much, but this defense has been pretty decent, both sides trading rounds so far. As we switch in, but Drone is trying to push in aggressively. Relics is just going to Molotov and smoke just to stall time a little bit more. And even get the frag onto Drone, actually, so catching off one. So it's now going to be a 4 versus 5. Now TSM might be considering going over to B. Mitch is going to keep a close eye on it, but doesn't spot the Omen on his left-hand side. He's going to peek it narrowly, but the frag is good. Mitch just getting the body shots in. The orbital strike almost catching out Sabrosa, forces him back. And TSM are just pinballing from either side.
Definitely, and unfortunately, where they decide to go to, there's always going to be a stack happening here for the site, because Cloud9, because they have this one-man advantage, they don't really need to rotate players. So we're splitting things off and making it more difficult for TSM instead of trying to move in as a team. It's only going to be a two-man take with Cutler kind of lurking down towards his mid side. So if he could actually get a pick off the rotation, he's going to take Teleporter, but he's going to go face-to-face against Tens right after. So the initiation has to happen from Wardell and his teammate right now towards his Octagon, and they're even spotted on top of that from a recon arrow. So that is going to be one guy down. There's our rotation kill. Low HP is going to be Cutler, but there's only 24 seconds left on the clock. And like I said, he goes through the teleporter, Tens is there. It's going to be impossible for him to make it out. But at least we teleported back towards the A side. He's about to walk into a trap wire, though. So that's going to waste some time. And there you go. At least Cutler gets wall banged. And now with 10 seconds left on the clock, Sabrosa at least to get this plant down. Now can he clutch? Shock dart. A white swing, double white swing coming through, gets the first and unfortunately not the second one there onto Vice, and Cloud9 stays alive in this battle.
It was a really nice rotation to get around. You obviously saw 10 stay towards B site to get that kill onto Cutler, and the double peek right then, just to get that frag. One person went down, but Vice was able to confirm the kill. And it goes to show that there are moments of brilliance for Cloud9, certainly more on the Ascent map than we've seen here on Bind at least, but I think that's just because TSM are being outclassing them. They seem to be just outpacing them pound for pound in a lot of these engagements, and there's only so much I feel like Cloud9 can realistically do. I think the early game for them was pretty torrid with how aggressively they were playing on the attack, to be fair. But it's kind of like the GENG game almost, where both sides are trading from one another, looking good, but a section of the game was where Cloud9 sort of fell apart. And by then, the damage was already done. It's looking to be a similar thing here, but they are looking certainly a lot better on this defense than they did on attack.
Sabrosa does have the combat stim onto the ground, so that's going to be two people walking on there, so they're trying to clear it out with the Recon Owl moving forward. But there's actually going to be 4 players already from Cloud9 in these positions at this B site. They're walking straight into a trap here for TSM. Luckily, though, they have a showstopper to work with, but he's lurking so far behind. I would have opened up with that, too. They have the Omen, so they could find some information. There you go. The Omen's inside the site. He's going to call it out. Orbital strike to say it, too. He knows that one's on a self boost. He actually goes for the full teleport to kill him to Mitch, but Tens and Relics, because of his position, he doesn't see them towards that garden side, that there was 2 more players there, and they're all dropping like flies. Tens now dropping the 3rd of this round, leaving out Wardell on his own. Operator shot miss, getting hunted down here by Tens, who's still going to move forward and hate and chase after him. Shark darts as well, moving in from that Sova, and Wardell looking still. I don't know, I think he's going to try to run towards A and plant.
Most likely. Having the operator's not good. Maybe if there's some other gun that he can pick up, might just even save, to be honest, because getting a plant down and fighting up against 4 people, all with rifles, is just going to be too hard. So he's just going to sort of sit, get ready for the next round. I loved how Tens played there. I remember, like, the first bit of gameplay that I saw from Shroud, when this game was in like the closed beta weekend before the game went into closed beta, and it was the whole like playing Jet, getting a frag, moving, using utility to change up your positioning, getting another frag, using utility to move again. That's exactly what we saw from TenZ, and it's super important. I don't know why we're getting so much. Look at that face. That man has seen some stuff right there.
That's
like,
signature observing from the Prius right there.
Just get right in his grill, see what Wardell's looking at, maybe even hear some of the things that you might be shouting if you get that close too, maybe. But like that's Jet. Like, I think Jet very early on in the career, like certainly in the closed beta tournaments, Jet wasn't used all that much, but now she starts to be picked up. You have Mixwell over in EU, you have Ardis over in EU too, all of these like Jet operator players.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's like Wardell that we usually see with the operator, but TenZ there with a rifle shows that this agent is one of the best. And if you have the right kind of player, putting them on Jet is the way to win some of these rounds and some of these games.
Yeah, some people thought it was going to be that Reyna because it was going to be that self-heal, that dismiss, to devour to get information as well too. But somehow Jet just getting those cloud bursts, right? It's easy to kill, Tailwind to back into safety. So just some players that are good mechanically could definitely use this agent as Jet to their advantage. This round though, 5 players alive for both of these teams. It's a very slow-paced round. A lot of respect now given from TSM onto Cloud9, but finally the first gunshots are ringing through the walls of Hookah as a couple are spotted. But Drone still staying for a bit while the other ones are falling back as the spike is still down towards A.
Ooh.
A dink coming through the wall though from Drone. That's going to put Jet, the 10s, down to 58 HP. Hayes is clearing out showers. You know they're going to finish towards this A side. Face to face very soon as Relix is pushing forward, and Hayes has a better angle. There you go, the headshot. He's now down. It's only going to be one player inside this site. He's going to call that recon arrow. He knows it's going to be a full execution towards A now. Vice is trying to hold it towards you. Shinobi meanwhile falls down, and Satchel Chargers are coming through across as well, and Sabrosa lands him through the cyber cage. The flank already comes across from Mitch though. It's traded off. I'm trying to give you this microphone, Ryan, but everybody's just dying one by one, and it is the map point for this second map for TSM.
Sometimes these teams just need to frag it out. Sometimes it isn't like, okay, let's peek at the same time. It's just go, go, go. This is a deathmatch server now. And just like the comfort, I suppose, the TSM played there, they were expecting positions that Vice was holding on the Cypher right in that corner. Sabrosa just sprays it and gets the frag. It's easy for them because they just have a rough idea on how Cloud9 are looking to play this. And I think the biggest difference is TSM on their defense, Sabrosa, like I sort of mentioned, would push along this part of the map that we're seeing on screen on the defense and play super aggro. Kind of like Relix tried to do there, but I guess Sabrosa did it better, is basically how I would describe it, because Relix gets punished there by Wardell, and this is looking to be the map of TSM.
The worst part is that recon arrow hit Wardell in the chest, so it was on him the whole time pinging, but I think he got the kill onto Relix just before. So that Showers is now into position, into control. Oh, a nice wallbang, and a Hunter's Fury to come out. He lands it onto Vice, trying to connect here onto Jet, and he does a double kill onto TenZ with the Hunter's Fury. We're now moving inside this A site with 4 players alive versus 1. And where's that res? It's going to be way too far right now for Mitch to try to get a res for his teammates. It's pretty much sealing a deal unless Mitch could pull something out of his you-know-what and only has a Bulldog to work with.
The dream is real. Give him all of your energy. This is going to be... No, never mind. Sabrosa finishes it up. And just before we sort of get in there, it was just like TenZ when he had the Hunter's Fury on him, pulling out all of the breakdancing on the Jet to try and not get hit.
In this best out of 3 because it is single elimination. TSM or Cloud9, seeing who's going to move on to this semifinals. I still also believe, like you, Ryan, that it's going to be TSM moving into this third map with the victory.
And I think this is the kind of map that you really get to see what TSM are good at. Like, there are going to be certain bright spells, I suppose, for Cloud9. Certainly TenZ, you know, TenZ at a 1v1. You'd put good money on him winning a lot of these engagements. But it's like holding on to areas of the map in particular. It's not so much just having a lot of 1v1s. It's you need one person holding on the A site, one person holding in garage, one person holding on B. It's like you have a lot of weight on your shoulders to hold an engagement where you might be running into like 5 people at once. So you need to trade, you need to stall, you need to not die in a lot of cases. But interestingly enough for TSM, they're all congregating in double doors. This could be a nice little B trap, I suppose it would be.
Yeah, I like that one too because often you see a lot of garage control, and then you try to split towards the C sign. But you can see from TSM, they've changed the whole strategy around. They're actually looking for control towards the sewers and towards A. But the one that's actually going to, it's going to be right now Cloud9 looking for control at sewers and towards long A. So they are playing the attacker side at this time too. And what I wanted to note was that it's actually Mitch as the stage, usually as a support player, looking for an entry frag through these sewers.
It's that kind of map where everybody has to be looking for entry frags, but he's the one that's taking up the most space. Drone is happy to sit on this corner, has a curveball, so if he's put under a lot of pressure like he's about to be with the Owl Drone, he's just going to shoot it. The wall's actually going to boost him up. It takes the attention away.
Yep.
So he's still there, but obviously Cloud9 aren't able to push it. Tens is trying to take a bit of a tussle in mid. Even set up the camera, so I'm expecting that would be the site to be hit. Wardell is pushed off, but still wanting to play a little bit more aggressively. The site's going to get hit.
Wardell coming through the site to get the second kill, looking for the third, but unfortunately does not. Vice now does capitalize on that frag. It's walled up as Hayes is waiting for his teammates to rotate, looking for the knife break. Now a double push through this wall as two of them simultaneous fall. That's actually going to be Hayes, Drone, and now even Cutler on that rotation, courtesy of Relics, for the piss around to be in favor of Cloud9.
Explosive plays that we're expecting. It was started with Tim's just chipping away a bit of damage, putting Wardell under some pressure. It actually forced Wardell to play a bit more aggressively. He wasn't willing to back up on the site, wanted to at least, you know, cause a few casualties on the side of C9 as they put the spike down, but unfortunately was caught out completely. A good start for Cloud9. They didn't have a good one on Bind, which was part of the problem with them trying to surmount a comeback. But with any luck, you'd like to see Cloud9 being able to pick up a second round, but Wardell is playing super aggressively with a shot. He doesn't pick that corner, has to double take, but Tenz's gun is a little bit bigger.
Definitely, and he's even going to pop it in the face of Sabrosa as well. So, and that was long range, at least, actually, because Sabrosa made it his way under window. At least Hayes does have that shorty down at 22 HP. He is going to get dropped no matter what, and it's still going to be, so far, so good. A round coming in for Cloud9. Nice classic shots here from Tense as well onto Drone. So Cutler at this point, he's just going to look for exits. He didn't invest into anything, so it's okay for him to move forward. Well, here's the debate, though. Do you want to try to move forward and try to get a kill, or do you want to try to stay back and try to stay alive to not give him an ultimate point as well, and some credits as they get the kill onto you? So that's why you see him playing very passively, looking for the tight angles as well, so he could try to land the first shot if he could, but he's not getting anywhere closer to where he's about to lose a 4 versus 1.
Yeah, he's indecisive. There really isn't too much that he could do. There's no risk if he dies either. He hasn't got armor. He doesn't have any of his utility handy. He might want to try and grab the tripwire that's set up on A, but I don't really think that's happening. There might even actually most likely be the tripwire for the attacking cipher, to be fair, anyway, so that might be Vice's. He's got his camera set up to spot a bit on the mid area of the map, but that's, of course, not where they are. And it's actually Vice that's got the most kills so far, tied up with Tens. Yeah. And yeah, a good start for Cloud9. Like, they were, what, 0-6 on the start of Bind? So, not nice, that one. They don't want that to happen. So, at least they've alleviated a bit of pressure on themselves. And this is a bit more of a bonus round. But if C9 can string a few of these rounds together, they have a start like they did on Ascent. We saw just how TSM crumbled once it went to 6-0, 7-0. They just fell apart completely. And Cloud9 started to play with some newfound confidence. And they looked really good doing so. That's what they need to do.
Definitely, and they're looking for this control once again for Cloud9 towards this A side. And while it slows down a bit, we could notice the agent composition for this map, actually. It's changed a bit for TSM. They actually have, instead of a Silva, a Jet onto Wardell, but back to the basics for the other 4. So you'll have Cutler as a Cypher, you'll have Hayes as a Sage, and you'll have Brimstone and Phoenix as the regular 2 of Sabrosa and 2 drones respectively. On the other end, though, I'm surprised that you're going to have Relics. Yes, he's out Omen main, but you saw some nice set mollies that he had towards that side on Bind, and it's some things they could do similarly for takes towards the A side on Haven. So I would have expected that from a molly play from that, but he's going to go with the Omen instead. With this round, though, they're looking for the execution into into B to at least get a spike plant.
Oh, I like that movement from Tenz there. Just hops over the big metal box. Even Mitch using the wall to boost himself up. So this is a lot of control. And Tenz is still on the offensive. Pushes for a smoke to get a pick onto Hayes. And now starts to back up. Really isn't too much that TSM could do here. Wardell and Drone on either side of the map. and they're looking to try and catch some people that are lurking around, namely this Omen. It's going to peek around the corner right now. It's an awkward fight. Come on, Drone. Gets the frag onto Relics eventually, but not too much else to happen. Wardell is the operator. He wants to keep hold of it. So this is going to be round number 3 going towards Cloud9, and I think this is looking decent there. Again, TSM are sometimes a bit of a slow team to start off with, so they're not going to be too worried, but Cloud9 are like, yes, more of this.
And people talk about ability combos, right? Sometimes, let's say, for example, Sage Frost Orb with a Molly to try to burn some people down. But you saw how that was played towards that B. Sometimes it doesn't have to be offensive combos. You have a camera that was thrown up towards the right side of the B wall that puts the crosshair away from Cutler towards B main to try to break that camera. At the same time, a Sage Wall self-boost, and also an updraft and a dash from Jet. So you're playing 2 baits from 2 different agent abilities, and then utilize Mitch basically as deterrent to get the kills right after. So that was just beautifully executed for Cloud9 to get into that B site, and you saw it. After those 2 kills, immediately everybody fell back to just save their weapons.
As weapons are important, it is a long game, so TSM aren't going to try and do too much, lose out some of this economy, which is also equally as important. I like the play from Drone on this corner. The camera's going to spout out a bit of intel. The Drone knows that his positioning is going to be good. He looks a bit odd just staring into the wall like that, but I can assure you that this is going to be a good play. If Cloud9 were looking to push it, it seems that that's not going to be the answer. Vice is looking to see if anybody's going to lurk towards sewers, but right now this is patient from TSM. Scout out a bit of intel, try and catch Cloud9 as they push on in. And Wardell's positioning is bound to catch somebody off if they're not careful.
Yeah, so you have Drone that's playing around the corner, so you're trying to bait with a camera and trap wires from the Cypher as well, and then just have Drone try to go for a curveball and peek towards long. But the action's happening towards B, where unfortunately Wardell only picks up 1 and not the second one onto Mitch. Usually he doesn't miss that kind of shot versus Mitch, but Mitch has been on point with his firing. Now even inside that site, Tens goes for the updraft inside the B site to get that frag there on it to Hayes. Vice with the operator. Sabrosa falls as that spike is still taken down, and it's looking to be a 4th answered round so far here. But we are attempting to take it. So a nice curveball, sorry. That's going to blind the operator towards Gong as Cutler gets the 1st and 2nd onto Tens. So now it's a 2 versus 1, but they still have a res. It's not planned for him to basically go for an easy defuse, so you can pretty much see that he's going to save his Vandal at this point.
And time too, it's starting to get towards the end of this wick. And I really like how Tens is playing this. He tried to play like this on bind, but ended up just running into the enemy and dying quite a lot. But just the dashing onto the big box in B takes a lot of space. And I think the most important thing was Mitch getting that refrag, like Wardell getting the first pick with the operator on the Jet, sort of towards B. Mitch just chased up to make sure that he died, because if they let Wardell go free there, he's just going to chain these kills together and be near enough unstoppable. So it was very brave and very well played of Mitch to just dedicate, play a bit more aggressively than you'd expect from a Sage, just to make sure that Wardell gets punished for playing so aggressively.
So 4 unanswered rounds here. Cutler saving his Vandal. The rest of the team, it's only going to be on pistols. So 3 shares and a classic here for Wardell. And it's going to be playing off basically a solo hold towards the A side. Yes, Drone is going to look for some information, but if he dies, you're not really going to go for a trade play with Cutler at that site. So now you saw Drone moves down towards that Surrey. He gets picked off. We saw one pushing towards that mid side, picked off as well. Wardell at least has the Blade Storm. So Tense is just around the corner here, where if they try to peek out, he go for these right clicks and aggressive peeks as well. And I like this. Cutler actually rotates around. So the ones with the most powerful weapons, well, the crossfire is there for them. 2 right clicks misses, unfortunately. The second one actually hits onto Tens at half HP. They have lost the res, and they have lost the health too. So you see them booking it all back right now for Cloud9 to move down towards the garage into C, where Hayes is waiting for him.
And Tens has his ultimate too if he wants to use it, but the operator seems to be finding much more success. Relics is going to add to that now. Just Cutler left alive, but every member, it seems, of C9 is able to get a frag and put them 5-0 up. This would be a big surprise if Cloud9 could keep this momentum up, even bringing it to the brink of a very close game on Haven. It's worth reminding as well, we don't have the new overtime feature in this game. There was some inconsistencies with it working, so if it does go to a sudden death 12-all, which it could do, fingers crossed it's a close game, it'll just be how the game normally played out with overtime, right? So don't expect a new system. There's a couple of bugs where it finishes a bit too early. And so we're just going to go back to the drawing board, back to square one with the old feature, which is a shame. I would have loved to seen how the new version of overtime would work in a game like this.
But so far in this best out of 3, Ryan, you're looking at a dominating half for Cloud9 on the first map, a dominating half on the second map for TSM, and now a dominating half here for Cloud9 once again on the third. If the patterns kind of repeat themselves, you could probably think that Cloud9 should be running away with this matchup here, because it seems as though on the defense, out of 5 rounds, we haven't seen a real footing yet out of TSM. This is basically their second real gun round in these 5 rounds, so this is where it will really dictate the pace here of TSM.
And I really like Cloud9's attack, really, because they're not overly aggressively pushing onto a site. They're taking their time. Granted, they keep going B, which is kind of difficult when you have all of these defenders surrounding the site. They're even stacking up towards that direction now, just because it's been hit so frequently. But they are going to move towards double doors. They need to be careful of where Haste is positioned here. It's a Phantom, so it's not quite like a Shorty or a Judge, but it's still going to be dangerous. Tens comes out with the ultimate, doesn't get it though. The double pick from Haste is good, and he has control of the spike.
Puts the wall up at the same time too. He saw that camera at the same time, but that wall is going to give a chance for his teammate to rotate. But look at that, you also have the stage that's close by that's watching that link, but Drone picks him. You check your 50s. That's what you have to do. Despite your teammate already in garage, you have to check every corner possible. So a great play. With only 12 seconds remaining, the pick comes through. There shouldn't be enough time here for Relics to pick up the spike and to get the plant. So now with 5 seconds left, close range here. Action away is Wardell. Going for the quick scope. Skylar falls down as the op versus op. It is going to be TSM first point on the scoreboard.
Oh, that was almost comical. It was just Relics poking his head out double doors, but like, uh-oh. Just goes back inside, like, oh, that's not the direction I want to go in. Not even scoped in with his gun, he just wasn't expecting it, but that's Wardell's playstyle. He's lurking around, he's going to be dangerous no matter where you place him. First round for TSM. I think at this point now we can start to see them build up a bit of momentum and string a few more rounds together, but the economy is still good for Cloud9, and they have 4 ultimates. 2 of which are fairly aggressive in how they can place it with the From the Shadows and Hunter's Fury, but also really good for the retake. They just need to get that spike planted and play a bit more aggro like Drone is right now. I see an Odin.
Did you?
I think Shinobi is an Odin.
That has to be Shinobi. But at least we get the first operator kill as the first falls here on the attack, so that's the res actually gone. But at least with these ultimates, like you said here, Ryan, it could be good. Well, check that out. I was going to say, From the Shadows could get some information away, even playing behind with an Owl drone, so they could actually get some information and then execute into C, even with the Hunter's Fury. But now you have 2 ultimates down, as both Relics and Mitch both fall. But at least you have the Hunter's Fury coming out. The first connects here on to Hayes, who's looking to stay alive, and he will. Wardell rotates across B, where we have that spike already inside the site.
Wardell's positioning is nice, but the spike has been planted, but look how surrounded Vice is. Has to pick these camera angles one by one. Has to be careful. Spots one, spots another. That's 2 kills he's able to get. Dedicates an Neural Theft to know exactly where these last 2 defenders are going to be. It forces Wardell to play a little bit more aggressively with the operator. Cutler's able to get 10s from across the map. So it's Vice holding his guard. He gets his third. Can he get the 4th on this corner? No, Wardell is going to get his second. Gets his third onto Shinobi. Bruh, like this guy.
Don't you like Wardell now? Don't you like Wardell now, Ryan Central?
I just wasn't expecting it. You know, his positioning giving up with the operator, and he's just like, no, I'm going to push here. They're not going to expect this. I'm just going to run into them and just peek some insane angles to get those frags. Shinobi, the last alive with the Odin. Not quite the same caliber of weapon that the operator's in. Can't really match what Wardell just did there, but some really nice play from Vice. He held onto the site very cleanly. Only 1 frag behind 10s. And like I said, TSM are building up a few more rounds now, and they have the ultimate economy on their side. The gun economy is still okay for C9, but if they lose this round, then they might need to save again.
Yeah, and I'm surprised as well, because they have the higher seed for TSM, and I usually see them a lot stronger on the attacker side. So kind of surprising that it took the defender side first, but it's still going to be Subroza. Double operator setup like I mentioned at the pregame. Expect that coming in from Subroza into Wardell. So already Tense is going to fall at the boxes. You have pretty much a bunny hop happening towards long A, but Wardell's actually pushed down towards that sewer side with Drone, just around the corner with a curveball. So this is going to be so deadly for the spike carrying company now.
Drone hears them. There's all of the intel. Wardell is watching very closely as well, so these are going to be some interestingly peaked angles. He's forced to run away. He's going to be given chase from the attackers. Drone's feeling a bit lost, but Wardell, as he gets paranoid, kills Relics. You can't give him even a second of chance, and Subrosa getting a second. This double operator is being hell on earth for C9. We now go back to Drone, who's still just watching that corner, waiting for something to happen. But it's Wardell, the one that we want to be keeping an eye on. He's the key factor, gets his second, and C9 are really struggling with these operator players.
Only Shinobi, the last man standing, that does not have that Odin, only with the Phantom at this point. But Drone, the amount of time that he waited so long at the long A, funny flanks around at Sewers, gets the kill. And that is going to be now 4 ultimates primed up, 3 rounds in a row coming in for TSM. And I got to ask you here, Ryan, who's the best operator you have in Europe? Is it Mixwell at this point?
He's, you'd still say Ardis, but considering that G2 has Mixwell and Ardis, I think Mixwell's the main AWPer on that lineup. But still, like,
so how do you
Ardis
compare?
does have his moment. That's the tricky thing, because they're very similar players. It was really interesting to see that G2 picked up both Mixwell and Ardis, considering they play a very similar role. But how Ardis has moved over to the Sova, like, sort of position, I suppose it would be for this roster, has been super good. They have, like, finals towards tomorrow in the tournament, and I want to see it, because they play some blistering Valorant, and it looks very similar to how NA teams play as well. It's sort of a little bit puggy, but individual performances are strong, kind of like Team Liquid in CSGO. Just everybody can frag out like crazy. The strats maybe not set up, but individually god tier.
But my simple question was to say that Wardell's probably a better operator than those two there in Europe. So Wardell opens it up here onto mid. Exactly. I just wanted a simple answer. Wardell's better. Tens moves in here with the judge, gets the frag onto Subrosa. Hayes now moving in, but Ten still continues as the updraft comes in for Wardell. They clear out the site. Look at that. The operator's stuck towards the air, and the updraft's already used, so I don't know if Tens could go back and pick it up. Nonetheless, though, it's a 2 versus 3 situation in favor now of Cloud9, as you still have a lurker inside the garage. Both Drone and Cutler are trying to move forward from that spawn side, but it's looking dire right now for TSM on that retake. Look how aggressive the push-up is, though. They're playing off the camera, so a double stack off the default spot for Cloud9. The first peak coming through, and there you go, jumping Judge from Tens to seal the deal. 6-3 now for Cloud9.
Tens just slaps him down there at the end. Like, there's nothing. Like, as somebody that is very much molding, as you've seen my hairline, I can tell you that somebody jumping in the air and getting a headshot with a judge is probably the quickest way to have your hair recede just a little bit more. So it's nice to see that Tens is using that towards his advantage. A lot better from this team. Like, I don't know if it was just a bind was a bad map, they weren't having a good day. TSM were just firing on all cylinders, but now they go into half-time at least even if TSM can pick up these remaining 3 rounds. But if they can get an advantage, if they can just be like 7... my maths just went wrong there. 7-5, 8-4. If they could just get a couple of rounds in advantage going into half-time, I think they're onto a winner.
Definitely here. So now we do have Mitch and company trying to look back at this control towards A side, where it didn't pay off for them before, but they're still being stubborn and going to try to work that down. But look how aggressively Wardell has pushed up. The thing is, though, nobody really rotated yet from TSM. They're still holding 2 towards Garage, 1 towards B, because they have the camera of Cutler to watch towards the A side all the way from heaven. And if you could call it out, they're going to kind of play the retake. But now you see the lurk happening. 3 guys here from Cloud9 moving in towards B side, 2 towards the sewers. Make that now 3 as Tens is moving up with his teammates on that sewer side. So we're going to have that pincer towards A, but finally, at least, a rotation did come through from TSM.
And look how much C9 has just stopped.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a freeze frame. They're just buying their time here, and they only have the resurrect, and Mitch is looking to be more of an entry fragger towards the B site. If they can make a bit more noise, even throw a few smokes that way, yeah, you could see it. So Bros is like, huh? What was that? He's going to check it out. Gets hit with a paranoia, and is still running. Has to back out completely, which is giving up a lot of space. That paranoia was 200 IQ. Look how much space it's made for them.
That is so good right now. The trades are coming across too, but Cutler is still alive here inside that site. Mitch even gets a res on top of that while Cutler puts their spy cam up to look towards that flank. His teammates, he's waiting for them. They're so far behind here, still rotating from that B side. That spike is ticking down, but they're on a 5 versus 3. If they cannot get a kill early, they're at least going to go for a res, so they're going to res 1 here towards that spawn site. They still have to go for the kills early to try to take this round back. So now at least one's watching that flank here towards the long A. That is going to be Relics, while the rest here are still working towards that side. But you see them backing out. They're going to leave Cutler to die pretty much, while the rest of the guys are going to save into the next round. Relics is actually moving inside B here, where Wardell is waiting with the operator. Oh no, he's got the knife out. Relics made it inside. He's going to hear the footsteps.
Left.
There you
Where
go.
are you looking?
Gets the kill. Well, Wardell was still walking. At that point, it's hard to spot, and it's going to be that spike going off and a round coming in for Cloud9. But, Ryan, that execution was perfect there for Cloud9 into A.
Pristine, and their hold of retakes has been decent too. Like, it wasn't obviously great on bind, but I don't think the spike really got planted all that much from Cloud9 when they were attacking anyway. So that's an area I think TSM over this series at least has looked a bit iffy. Certainly on maps like Ascent and stuff where the spike has been planted, their retakes, they take so long. Sometimes they build up enough time and power and momentum to just steer Cloud9 off the site to get the defuse in, but sometimes they just stop in their tracks and then it's suddenly like, oh, we've sat here for like 20 to 30 seconds. We don't have enough time anymore. Let's just try and save. It looks a little bit awkward, maybe an area that they can be dialed up on a little bit from the coaches, but honestly, that's me being really pedantic. TSM looking on the back foot, at least on this half, but certainly not out of it just yet.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, they're usually stronger here on the attacker side from what I've seen with TSM's playstyle, especially having a Jet on the operator too. They're probably going to count on Wardell to get a lot of opening picks. This round, though, split off across the map. Wardell's pushing down once again. He's about to come head-to-head here against Relics, who decides to fall back just a little bit now. So it's going to be safe for now while the rest are still working towards his garage. It's going to be a 1-versus-1 between Hayes and Jet at that point too. And the 1-versus-1 towards Stewards, unfortunately, is won by Mitch here of Cloud9. As they get this pick, though, they're still falling back from that, and they're looking to split into C.
Garage is going to be another hot point of the map yet again from the looks of it. That's where the spike has been cargoed. Hence the security guard keeping an eye on it, but this positioning from Wardell, it's pixel perfect. Relics can only do so much yet again, losing these battles,
Nice!
But Hayes is the one that comes in through double doors. The spray is good, if not a little bit awkward there for Hayes at the end, but he won't matter. That's a triple kill. The fourth round for TSM, they want to make it 5 as we go into the last round before we switch sides. But regardless, Cloud9 lead with an advantage going into it and look good, but will their defense look as decent as their attack?
Yeah, that's why I kind of see why TSM is a little bit slower on rotates, because they really want to rotate as soon as they know where the dark covers are coming from, especially mid-round, late rounds. You know for a fact that if you see a dark cloud coming through from Relics towards that mid-round, the execution's coming across at the same time too. Wardell just stood his role basically from his angle, and then that gave a chance. Nice shot there from Wardell. That gave a chance from Hayes to be ready for the shots, and Wardell basically knew that updraft coming in from that spawn side. Somehow he was already looking up there from that spawn, and Tens falls, breaks the camera on top of that too, and things are looking very swell right now as Drone gets 2 kills, including a spike carrier. Curveball to come out, fully blinded is going to be Relics that gets the kill, but at least Drone takes down Shinobi with them, leaving it on a 4-versus-1 situation. Brimstone still has the orbital strike and a neural theft from the Cypher, but you won't need it because you know exactly where that last player is.
Good luck, Relics. That's all I can say. Wardell's about to look right at you, even paranoid. Wardell is going to even get the headshot. It's crisp. A good half from both sides really isn't a disaster for TSM to say the least. Wardell 15-5 when it comes to frags. Tens 11-7. Much more lukewarm game, I suppose, out of Tens. He's not really had the time to shine, and I'm not really sure how these guys are going to play defense. Their Ascent defense was pretty much perfect, really, when it comes to how it was played. Bind, again, not too good, not too bad. It was okay, but when you're playing up against the best of the best, it needs to be pitch perfect. You can't have any weaknesses, or a team like TSM is going to exploit it. This is a big half for Cloud9. If they can pull it off, then people can really stop writing off this team.
Yeah, and you saw the amount of pings that happened there on that minimap towards that A sign. And what do they have? They have Brimstone pretty much to only work with for the smokes. Yes, maybe Cloudburst as well from the Jet at the same time too. But it starts off with them still trying to commit with this, even though the Cyber Cages kind of gave their information away, as well as the Sova arrow that was thrown there from Shinobi inside the cubby of A sign. So let's see what's going to come out of it.
Shinobi's giving up a lot of space now. He's letting Tens be potential first contact, but the clomping is going to be heard. The A site is very much going to be hit. Even Shinobi spotting out a little bit, but TenZ now on the high ground with the Ghost. It's difficult with how TSM have positioned themselves. It's all over the shop, and there's a lot of damage to do. TenZ trying to take the engagement. Wardell does win it, but that wall is going to buy more time for this rotation to get stalled out. So things are looking decent from TSM.
Yeah, definitely. So from falling back, you really want to play the retake now for Cloud9. So at least for TenZ to get the first kill, but the spike is still down here. That's the important part for TSM. And they're in great positions to have at least watching the flank. That means less defense inside that site. And nice tailwind coming through there from TenZ, going through the smoke, going for the backstab, and because of that, Sabrosa's on a 4 versus 1. They're picking it. He gets the kill onto Relics. Now close range onto TenZ. He runs out of bullets twice, gets the kill, but there's no time for the defuse.
He did his job.
Dude.
He did his job. He bought enough time. Also, shoutouts to his teammates that were no doubt pinging the Spike's position on the minimap. That's why he was able to get such a good spam in on the first person that went for the defuse. That was really good from Cloud9 up until that point. They exploded onto the site, cleared everybody up other than Subrosa, but his brain is just too big. He just positions himself nicely, buys enough time, stalls it enough for the Spike to be deployed. And this is the perfect stuff for TSM when it comes to their attack, at least, or their defense even.
Yeah, but the thing is, I thought because Sabrosa was playing towards that spawn side, that he probably had a molly set up that he could throw onto the spike. But he actually had to book it towards the long A side and count on his teammates' pings to actually just spray with the classic. So maybe because of where the spike was planted, it wasn't one that he actually studied into.
Now this pressure is going to be fairly easy, I suppose, for Wardell and the rest of TSM to keep up. They have the guns, but he takes a bit of chip damage, actually, from Relics on the Omen, who's picked up the Ghost now. He's going to find himself in an engagement with Drone, but he can't really go up against the Spectre. Right now, it's just holding mid-control, keeping TSM from getting too much intel on where people are positioned. The rotation's going to come in. TenZ's positioning is good. The shot, he misses the second shot. It's a nice dash away from Wardell. His control of the spike gets a second. T9 have hold of this, but he needs to be careful behind him. Look at the wraparound now. TenZ is going to try and find more. He misses the shots. Unfortunately, Hayes just does a better spray and pray gun. And now it's up for Shinobi to try and do more damage.
Yeah, only at 31 HP though as they're moving forward. Cutler does get the frag, so it's a 3 versus 1 at this point. Leaving Mitch the last man standing. Even the camera spot him. This is going to be impossible. He picks up the Marshall, going for a no-scope, but Drone seals the deal, and for TSM ties it up in this matchup, 7-7. And if you're just tuning in right now, it's a best out of 3. Whoever wins this one moves on to the semifinals, and unfortunately, whoever loses this one is knocked out.
And I've got to give Cloud9 credit, even if they do lose this game. I think, to an extent at least, they can leave with their heads held high. They are going up against one of the stronger teams here. There's some glaring obvious issues, I suppose, in some maps and some rounds that they've had, but they look more consistent than some of the previous weeks that I've seen them play. But they have the kind of right stuff. It's just making sure that they can have that consistency up there too. TenZ, however, misses that shot. The flash from Drone doesn't really connect, but Drone is certainly connected with those headshots. He gets 2.
This is the Drone that we know, just running into the site, getting the entries. Shinobi making it 2 kills of his own, but like I said, Shinobi with that gets a triple kill. Meanwhile, though, Sabrosa has lurked out towards C. The rotation's going to come very soon. He might hear the footsteps coming in from Mitch, but he has a great angle right now to get that backstab onto the log. And there you go. Oh Mitch looks at it. Sabrosa loses the fight. A self-heal to look forward now. He looks towards the long B. Hayes is around the corner. He wins that one as well. Somehow, Sabrosa, you wish he would have had that shot. A paranoia comes in from Relics as well as Drone. He's looking for the ace. He runs out of the run it back, unfortunately, but knows that they're both there. Jumping on the top, left and right. He's down at 85, has all of everything inside his kit, with the exception of one curveball. Gets the first, but cannot get the second, unfortunately. Mitch, sealing the deal as the anchor inside C, wins that round for Cloud9.
How did Sabrosa not get that? That was like the butterfly effect. Like, he didn't get that kill onto Mitch, and Mitch just did the rest. Like, he got the triple kill. He came in exactly when Cloud9 needed him to.
He's got to hate himself
as well,
for that.
because Drone is such a killer round. Like, 4 kills to first pick onto TenZ was a nut shot. It was just crazy with how he was able to get that from distance against an operator, right? So Mitch got the triple kill. It might not have necessarily been flashy, but it did the job, and that's exactly what Cloud9 need right now. Only a few more rounds, 5 left, and they're in the semi-finals and knocked out the big favorites.
Yeah, and they won the round, and they won it with not a lot of money left. So you could see there's Spectres, there's Judges on a high-low stack inside the garage. They're trying to move forward here for TSM, but they don't want to walk into these traps where the submachine guns and the Judges will come into effect on these close-range battles. Even a Bulldog in the back of D for Shinobi. Things are still looking good here for TSM to overtake this site. They get the default wall towards the left side link. They're going for that plant. Shinobi's trying to run through, but he's paranoid. At least they get the plant before he gets the kill. Now they're able to fall back. Oh, he could defuse it from his angle. No! Okay, at least there's an orbital strike. But I'm sure they heard the sound at the same time too, so they're going to have to play it really quickly here. Thankfully for a Molly to come down at the same time, and we're playing it close. We have no choice. Drone gets the kill with the Guardian. Cutler trying to spam through the smoke at the same time. We're probably going to try to pray this again, and they're so close. Rosa gets 2 kills. They're going to stick onto the spike one more time, and trade after trade, and finally the defenders. They get the defuse. Relics with the kill with the Guardian. That was the most chaotic round I've ever casted so far in Valorant.
These are some of the best teams in NA. That's all you can really...
Oh
what
my
was
God.
that? Like, the wall put in sideways, that the defuse could come in, the orbital strike being dedicated, the Guardians, the Judges. What is this? This is like a quarterfinal with some of the bigger teams, and both those teams had a mare right then, but yet again, Cloud9 coming in when they need to. They're not going to care how it comes. These rounds are super important, and it forces a save out of the defenders of TSM. It could be 10-7.
Dude, that was so... It was just placed off a gap from a wall, unfortunately, that was kind of misthrown from Hayes when they put the wall across for that spike plant. But into this round here, that means that TSM are going to be on a broken buy only with pistols. Things are looking good now for Tens and company. It's going to be a it's going to be a boost. They're going for the boost, the jet across. They know where Mitch is at right now too, but they get the trade-off. Tens is still inside that site though. Barnard's Fury coming in from Shinobi at the same time as well, but you still have a no-scope miss. He does land at least the Blaze Storm on 2 kills. And Cloud9 takes the lead by 3.
I mean, 2 great ultimates there. The Hunter's Fury from Shinobi catches quite a lot. And then Tens, right when he needs to, uses the ultimate, having the operator now, put down the Judge for a while, and this is seems to be a bit of a pause, maybe a technical issue happening, but like, this is pretty good from Cloud9. Like, towards the start of this half, it looked a bit dicey. And yeah, like, I think they've looked really good. I just think that, like, this is still... I still don't necessarily feel comfortable saying that, like, oh yeah, this is going to be Cloud9's now, but there's some pretty impactful rounds. The last 3 that we just saw then looked really... Well, they looked decent for Cloud9 with how they handled themselves, really. That round in the middle was a bit all over the place from both sides, but that was just chaotic. You can't really say any more than that.
Well,
Ultimates, Molotovs, utility all thrown in
exactly.
one spot like that. I mean, it was good for Cloud9 to get that defuse in because that was such a small window for it to come through.
Yeah, it was basically everybody doing the best that they could with whatever they had left for their kits, right? You had the hot hands or the molly being thrown onto the ground, but then the dark cover coming in from Relics at the same time too, that gave a chance for the team to actually go one by one, basically try to get one defuse, one dies, one more is going to try it as well, the other one dies, and then it came down to that 1 versus 1. Thankfully though, for TSM, they also had a lower buy too, because Drone only had a Guardian. So both of these teams, no matter who won that round or lost that round, were in such a broken and low buy that it was such an important round that gave Cloud9 the ability to actually take this lead by 2 now, forcing TSM on a save on that previous round. But now we actually do have that on pause. Maybe it was a tactical, as we do allow that for this tournament as well, a tactical pause of 30 seconds for each of these teams. And it starts off with Wardell, starting with the first pick here on to Tens. So the Jet versus Jet, Op versus, well, I don't know if actually Tens had an op into that round. Actually, he did because he had it on that previous round before. It is going to be a 5-on-4 to start things off for TSM.
Not the best start for the defenders, but an opening for TSM, who have been on the losing side the last couple of rounds at least. Seems the B site is going to be hit again. Oh, here we go again. This Owl drone is going to scout quite a lot from Shinobi. Drone's going to take up a lot of the space with the wall blocking on the left-hand side, so he's using the run it back to scout out as much intel, maybe even get a frag, but the spike has been planted, and there's no big defensive ultimates like an orbital strike. but they have the Orbital Strike on this attack, so it's just a case of hold off. If anybody touches it to try and defuse, just throw all of these ultimates at them.
That's right, and there's no gap in the wall either here too, so it's okay for them to play super passively. Okay, I saw what happened actually. You just saw it. It wasn't actually a gap in the wall. They actually shot it from the 4th block that gave that small gap. Now the Orbital Strike comes down. Mitch is actually going to die. We're even going to have some stim packs coming through too. Shinobi trying to push forward. Drone does get the kill onto Vice. Then Relix trades it out. He's going to try to battle up long range here, but unfortunately Wardell stops him in his track, and a much needed round to put TSM back here on this comeback train. They put up at 8.
Tactical pause coming in clutch there, I think. Maybe it was just a reminder to, like, keep you cool, like, just take things steady. You have the ult advantage there. You just needed to throw an orbital strike on the point there. It forced Mitch to die because he had to dedicate to trying to get halfway on defuse. It's those kind of areas, like, really, TSM don't need to overthink it here. The plants have been decent. Cloud9 know that they have the advantage here. It's going right to the end game now, so any false moves are going to cost quite a lot for either side. But TenZ is on a box with a judge. Let's pray to the gods that he's able to get a frag he's hoping and doesn't get caught out completely.
That's right. And now it's going to be that same position here for TenZ on the top inside that garage. We have a lurk slow from the Phoenix of Drone with the spike on top of that. He doesn't have to run it back, so he's just going to walk in and try to get an opening, and I don't know if that was a mistake for him to just peek in there like that with the spike. I don't know if he knew he had it on his back. So now already the spike is down. Mitch is trying to peek out, but Wardell trades it out. Now inside the garage, TenZ does get the kill onto Sabrosa. They do break the wall, but Shinobi's in the back of the site with support from TenZ. Long range though, it's going to be Shinobi that wins that fight. TenZ continues with the judge as Hayes gets 2 kills out of HP. As finally Relix on that 1 versus 1 makes it 11-8. So you talked about costly mistakes here, Ryan. I think that was one with Drone moving up with that spike.
Is going to be costly. It's going to be punished. It's also interesting to see how TenZ is getting so much success with the judge. Like, the fact that this guy is swapping all of the weapons, the play style, it's really shown up quite a lot. We saw it yesterday a little bit with Code, it would have been Code 7, yeah, with the Immortals game. Just Robwiz running in with the stinger on a jet. Like, he had no fear, and I think this is where these teams need to really push the boat out when it comes to strategies. TenZ isn't just playing the jet operator role. He's still got the judge now. He still wants to get quite a lot done with it, change up his positioning. Now he's on A, and that's an area that TSM are kind of awkwardly been caught out with. They're on the back foot. There's not many rounds to go now for Cloud9. They'd be on match point if they win this one. And I think Mitch as well on the C site has been an absolute instigator of this success with how he's anchoring it.
And so far, everything's been working well here for TSM to work towards B. They're going to try it again. You had the Blade Storm, a headshot from Wardell, a dash to try to pick up the weapon on top of that. It's going to be a Spectre looking for the heal as well, but it's all the way here towards that spike plant. So they had to wait for that. Close range, Cutler loses to Relix, who pushed all the way down towards Long C. Oh my god, TenZ continues forward through his own Cloudburst. 2 kills with the judge, and Wardell actually trades it back. A 2 versus 3. You want these 2 guys alive for TSM. You have Drone, but a Paranoia comes in from Relix. They have an ult as well. They have a res available if they want to, and Wardell still has it on that Blade Storm, but it's Relix that gets 2 kills with the Vandal, sweeps up the last 2, and this puts Cloud9 at serious point to eliminate TSM.
So, because of the positioning of TenZ, like on A, I'm like, okay, if the plant goes in, he's not going to have much success with that judge. How wrong was I? He's just sitting in smokes and catches out 2 people. The flick as well. The mechanical skill needed to make the judge work like that isn't bad. It's not going to be like an operator flick, sure, but like that was super important to get those shots in. There's going to be another pause, and quite rightly, because this match is spiraling out. Match point now for Cloud9. Hard to know what side is going to go in for the pause, but Cloud9, it might be potentially just like, don't throw, just do it. We're this close. Please don't throw this, please. Like, dude, this is so good for Cloud9. If they knock out TSM, that's big for the whole scene.
Oh, definitely. Big for the scene, big for the organization, big as well for this lineup. I mean, we're still trying to confirm if the last 3 players will get signed by Cloud9 eventually. If not, well, hopefully they've done enough and proven enough that they could play in a top team right now for Cloud9. But thinking about this situation, though, you take this pause here for TSM, you're like, what can we actually do with this? They actually have to think about it, because you have 4 ultimates ready for the defender side too of Cloud9. You have a res, you have a neural theft, you had the Blade Storm from Jet, who's been killing it with the judge. Maybe he will need the Blade Storm, but you also have the information gatherer with Omen with the Into the Shadows. For TSM side, they only have a neural theft, so they don't really have much in terms of a post-plant situation unless they keep that neural theft alive after getting a kill at the post-plant. So a big round needed here, a big 4 rounds needed for TSM coming up.
And look at where TenZ is playing with the judge. Can he do more? This is straight away. He's going to run right into drone. He's sort of looking for the wall bang too. Like, it all comes down to this kind of moment.
Yeah, you saw TenZ looking.
I just want it to happen, but the cyber cage scares him away a little bit. So TenZ isn't going to run into anybody just yet, but he's holding his nerve. This is tense.
Literally. No pun intended. And that's because there's also a camera here on top of the sewers. So he fell back the first time because he got tagged. And now he's making a lot of noise, pretending like he's running back. But he's going to move forward here, and he's still going to possibly walk into the shot of the judge. And TenZ makes it 1 frag closer to the victory for Cloud9. Spike now picked up, and the rest of TSM are still trying to work towards this A side with the Jet moving forward. And there's that information that I told you about. So Relix is going to spot 2 of those players towards long A. What can he do with this now?
TenZ is moving away from the site because he knows that the execute could come on B. This is a pretty big bait when he comes out of haze, putting the wall down. It takes the player away from the site, and Wardell's got a nice sight line when it comes to the operator. Nobody's going to peek it, but you can see the TenZ is now back on A. You can see that the Bladestorm was ready to peek around this corner. 15 seconds left to plan, and Cloud9 aren't phased by this. They're just going to wait.
That's right, now the Bladestorm's coming out, running out of it. The judge is out as well. There's 7 seconds left. Cutler does get the kill onto the most important player in this round. TenZ is dead. The spike is about to come down as well. Wardell gets the kill with the up. Shot guards coming through. At least the plant is successful. Everybody is falling back. Shinobi moving in from the spawn with his teammate Mitch at the top of heaven. A flank from Relix, but it's stopped by Wardell with the wall bang. Last 2 are now spotted. Wardell gets the third onto Mitch. Wardell is saving a round for TSM. Shinobi is the last one standing at this point, and he will decide to fall back, especially now that he got tagged by a camera. It is going to be TSM staying alive into this point. But at this point, Shinobi, he could look for some exit kills too. But at the end of the day, it's still TSM looking to fight another round.
There's still more Valorant to be played between these 2 teams. Wardell just coming in necessary at that point. We're used to seeing him flex out like that with the operator, but he had to do that. He had no option, really. If there was anything less, then this game could have easily gone the way of Cloud9 already. With the score now being 9-12. Still a few more rounds to win now for TSM if they want to bring this back. Wardell and TenZ equal on kills. Shows how both these players have been performing, but TenZ has had a lot more variation in how he's playing it. Not picking up the judge this time, so he can put those resident sleepers away. He's just going to be running in with a rifle. It just needs to be clean from Cloud9. It doesn't need to be too smart. It doesn't need to be overzealous. It just needs to be well placed. There's no ultimates, and their economy isn't ideal either. This just has to be perfect.
Yeah, and if you looked at that scoreboard quickly, you saw that Hayes is at 6 and 7 on the ultimate points, and usually him being that spike carrier, if he could get a spike down, that's going to give him a chance to get the res up. Same thing for Drone. If he gets a kill, he can get a run it back, and that's going to be huge right now. Drone being a key player in terms of entries as well. Of course, he lost that fight versus TenZ because TenZ played that perfectly on that 1 versus 1 engagement inside the sewers. But you could see that they're going aggressively because they want to get this early kill. They also want to contest this orb if they don't get the kill towards long A here for Drone.
The operator play is going to be important. A is looking to be a site that's been hit on relatively hard, but the spike is being left in mid, so there's still freedom now for TSM to move around the map as they see necessary. A bit of a push-up from C9, namely it's going to be Mitch on the Sage on C holding onto that corner, but is it going to run into all that much? But this is what I mean, Cloud9 aren't over-pushing, they're not giving an opening for TSM to exploit, they're just waiting around the corners, most likely going to be planning to play retake. Even Cutler forced out a bit of utility towards the side of C9 as both Cyphers are going at it on A. More of a mind game, but look at this deep rotation coming in from Cloud9 moving over to A. The C site's looking open and Mitch is giving up his positioning, can easily be caught out here.
It has to be a huge kill here from Hayes because of that. You saw that rotate come through, but Hayes is still holding towards his B side, and he was going to come up against Relix. Now they put that wall up. It's going back towards his B execute here. for TSM. Hot hands to be thrown as well, but Relics is playing close range at the door. Coming and knocking, it's the Brimstone. The spike is now down. Drone trades it back. It's a 2-for-2 on each side. Now it's the 3 versus 3 remaining. You have to run it back. Drone is gonna pop it up, get that information. He knows Shinobi is close. Wardell gets the close range through the coppers on the Shinobi. A quick scope on the tens, and then Drone gets the last kill. They're gonna come in and get the spike to add some money, but they're 2 rounds away of bringing this into sudden death.
Run it back was super smart there. Drone knew that his position in away use that ultimate was going to be easily spottable, easily telegraphed. So he used himself as bait, and Wardell in the smoke with the operator spots the aggressive push coming out on there to C9 to try and punish it. And from there, it was just electric kill after kill after kill. It forces Tens to bring up the judge, but it seems to be a save from everybody else near enough, or actually maybe a bit of a force looking at what Relics is wanted to buy.
Yeah.
This is where TSM is starting to bring it back a little bit, and you can't give them too much momentum, or they will just take this game away from C9 right whilst it's in their claws.
Yeah, so you lost 2 rounds in a row. You're going to have that economy into the next, so it's okay to see them buy that judge, and I think it was a Spectre on that second one. While meanwhile, I saw one with 3,300 not buying any weapons, so I think what they want to do is just try to gamble onto this one here because Tens has a judge and Tens is good with a judge, and if they actually lose a round, you could still buy an operator for Tens into the last and bring it into the distance pretty much at this point. So 12-10 now in favor of TSM. Their pressure is still on here for the attacker side.
And it looks like A is going to be hit. A lot of pressure for Vice to deal with on this anchor. The latest player to be in this roster of C9 has done relatively well across this series, but might be asked for quite a lot whilst Tens is holding in double doors with the judge. Right now, it's just spotting out stuff. This rotation could be a little bit slow. It depends how TSM want to play this, but it's a lot of pressure for the latest player to deal with. That Molly is going to give up a lot of intel that they're heading that way, but the rotation hasn't come in just yet. The Cypher's going to spot it with the camera, but it might be too little too late. As soon as he spots that body, that rotation needs to come in right now.
And now the counter camera is coming through from Cutler as well. And here comes the shock darts as well from the side. Vice is moving forward. But at this point, like I said, they only have pistols here for Cloud9. So it should be around coming in. Oh no, here it comes. The Blade Storm. Tens with the shotgun as well. 2 kills. Big 3. It's over. Tens with 3 kills with the judge. And they seal the deal with the 2 weapons that they bought here for Cloud9. And Cloud9 defeats TSM and is best out of 3 and are moving into the semifinals of the Pulse Invitational.
And in what fashion? On a thrifty round, no less. I wonder how many of those kills were judge kills, because Tens is just... Tens has changed the meta of the game, and it's all judges all the time. If I'm to make it like a YouTube video, that's what it'd be titled. But man, what a game. I didn't expect it to be that close, and I certainly didn't expect Cloud9 to win it in that fashion.